sticks. He was headed north. Stand by.
You're watching TBPN. Today is Friday, December 5th, 2025. We are live again from the New York Stock Exchange. Thank you for the boat sound, Jordy.
It's good to be back.
This is the real fortress of finance, the capital of capital. The Temple of Technology is back in Hollywood. We'll be there on Monday. But we have a great show for you today, folks. We have Keith Rabois joining us in person. We have Lynn Martin, president of the New York Stock Exchange. We have Emily Sundberg. And we have one more, Adam Faze, again.
Had some hot takes on the WB
which is the
acquisition.
top story today, other than, of course, ramp, time is money, save both, easy to use corporate cards, bill payments, accounting, and a whole lot more all in one place. Let me give you some facts about Netflix. They're going to be bought by, or they're going to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max for an $82.7 billion deal. The acquisition is expected to close following Warner Brothers Discovery spinoff of Discovery Global TV Networks division in Q3 2026. There's a bunch of fun, interesting things hitting the timeline. Obviously, this is a tech story because of Netflix. It's also a media story and a public market story as well.
And it is a story that we will be talking about for quite a while because although this has gotten announced in the last 24 hours, it's very likely that this is going to be a very long, drawn-out process before it actually gets regulatory approval.
Yeah, well, let me read through Variety that had a great summary of the deal. But first, let me tell you about Graphite.dev. Code review for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster. So, it's official. In a move that will dramatically reshape the entertainment business, Netflix and Warner Brothers, or WB, don't call it Warner Bros, although we want to. The insiders, they call it Warner Brothers, or WB. Warner Brothers Discovery announced an agreement Friday under which Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and TV studios, HBO Max and HBO. The deal has a total enterprise value, including debt, of $82.7 billion, with an equity value of $72 billion, the company said. The announcement of Netflix's deal to buy the Warner Brothers streaming and studio business came after a weeks-long bidding war that pitted the streaming giant against David Ellison's Paramount, Skydance, and Comcast. News broke Thursday evening that Netflix had entered into exclusive negotiations with WBD on a deal for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Quote from Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, he said, "I know some of you are surprised we're making this acquisition." And I think people were surprised because didn't Netflix's stock trade down on this news? It's down.
People are
worried about the debt.
Some people are excited about it.
Yeah.
Plenty of people are not excited about it for various reasons. Some people don't think it'll get approved. Other people think this is, it's quite an extension. WB obviously does theatrical releases. They have a movie theater business. It's not. It's definitely will be quite an extension to Netflix's core business today.
Yeah, Netflix, for reference, $425 billion company, down 2.6% today. So not falling off a cliff or anything, but certainly people taking note of this. There's also a number of op-eds about this already out on the timeline. We can go through some of those. But first, let me tell you about Vanta, automate compliance and security, AI that powers everything from evidence collection and continuous monitoring to security reviews. So Netflix expects it expects to, quote, maintain Warner Brothers. He said, the company has historically been more of a builder than a buyer, and so Netflix is trying to sort of reassure both fans, employees, even people who might just see Warner Brothers Discovery as like a fantastic asset that doesn't need to be like stripped for parts. He's trying to push back against a potential narrative that Netflix will be very ruthless in cost cutting and lose some of that, what people think made WB amazing art. So he said, Netflix expects to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations and build on its strengths, including theatrical releases for films. I know this doesn't matter to you because you never go to the theater and you never see a film.
We went and saw Dune.
That was like 2 years ago.
But when we did that, it was a lot of fun. We got a bunch of the guys together. We said we're going to make a monthly thing.
Yeah, we were close.
Haven't done it since.
At the start of the year, we were doing that. We were getting everyone together, just like guys' night out, kind of, but to the movie theater, because we were like, okay, what do you do if you're a guy and you have a bunch of guy friends and you want to, go meet up, but you don't really like drinking? You don't know anything about sports. Like, what can you do on a Tuesday night?
You can suit up and head to your local movie theater.
Head to the local movie theater. And fortunately, it feels like Netflix must have heard what we said. They probably This seems like a direct reaction to us.
Potentially.
We do need to go back to the theater, though, because we have not been supporting them nearly enough recently. But it is a good time, and I do think it is important to set this tone. The reality is that, theaters are going to change. There's a question of fast takeoff in AI, fast takeoff in streaming. It's been 20 years since you've been able to watch things on the internet. So you've been able to watch home box office was a way to watch a movie at home.
Yeah.
In some ways, the ability to put a TV in someone's house was the beginning of the end for the theater. Yeah. Because they were immediately substitutes, although the difference was massive screen versus tiny CRT. And then it was like, okay, a 42-inch TV, flat screen. Now that might cost a couple grand, 10 years ago. Now I was somewhere, I think I was at Target, and I saw a 42-inch TV, I think it advertised for like $75 or something. It's like suspiciously cheap. It was so cheap.
It's like a rotisserie chicken. It's just trying to get you in the door.
In college, for me, the 42-inch TV was the gold standard.
Yeah.
We weren't in the era of the 65, the 75, the 85. The big TVs hadn't arrived, but the 42-inch TV was good.
It was like you're the king of the castle.
You were the king of the castle if you had a 42-inch. And it was like a serious expense. It was a couple grand. Now they're practically giving them away. And so, of course, that's going to be a competitive pressure. But also, it's not going to destroy the theater immediately, but it's going to have an erosion effect over decades, and that's exactly what's happening. But it's nice that Netflix is not declaring this the end of the theater. They're going to continue to invest and support, and I think this will, certainly, encourage everyone to continue supporting Warner Brothers and Discovery and Netflix. So Netflix signaled it would keep HBO Max as a discrete service, while it also touted the addition of HBO and HBO Max content to its lineup, and so we're going to add the deep film and TV libraries and HBO Max programming. Netflix members will have even more high-quality
Will it be
titles.
called Netflix Max?
You need to be Netflix maxing. Maybe that's... Wait, is that why they did HBO Max? Because they wanted it to be if you're HBO maxing, you get HBO Max?
Then it was HBO Max, then it was Max, then it was back to HBO.
People give them so much... they talk so much trash about HBO with the rebrand chaos, but Max is a great term, as opposed to, because they could have done HBO Plus.
No, the critique there was HBO has built up such an incredible brand.
Yes, they never should have gone purely Max.
And credit to Scott Galloway, I remember he went so hard on them for dropping the HBO.
Oh, that was crazy.
You've spent decades building up this incredible brand, and you're just like, see ya, we'll just be called Max.
They spent 2 years HBO Maxing. Well, they spent 2 decades HBO Maxing, and then they just 2 years HBO Max Maxing, and then they just went Max Maxing, and that was the end, the beginning of the end. The article goes on. This allows Netflix to optimize plans for consumers, enhancing viewing options and expanding access to content. Netflix says it expects to see $2 to $3 billion in cost savings annually by the 3rd year after the Warner Brothers Discovery deal closes. Let's see. The company expects the transaction to be accretive to earnings per share by year 2. The cash and stock transaction was valued at $27 per share, and the timeline is going back and forth on this.
Okay, Leia, let's get into some takes. So the counter side of this, the information actually had a pretty scathing kind of analysis of the acquisition.
That, I'm going to tell you about public.com, investing for those that take it seriously. We have multi-asset investing, and they're trusted by millions.
So I read through this earlier. This is from Martin Piers. He says Netflix's Warner purchase is an $82.7 billion blunder.
He's calling it a blunder.
He says it will likely, announced Friday morning, will likely prove a stupendous error by a management team that until now has rarely put a wrong foot. Netflix paying a huge price, 27.5 times next year's expected earnings, well above prevailing multiples for film and TV companies, for businesses that likely won't help it add many subscribers, right? Netflix has saturation. A lot of people today, so from a consumer standpoint, if you subscribe to Netflix and HBO, Max, you're going to be like, cool, I can churn off of one of these services and just switch over to here. The question is, well, then Netflix, will they be incentivized to just keep pushing the price of the subscription? They're adding more content, more IP, and so I would expect them to do that. Martin continues, moreover, the deal is likely to face severe regulatory obstacles. Again, so Netflix is not exactly Trump aligned, right? Netflix did the deal with the Obamas. And so I think that in a world where Netflix was going to, WB is going to Paramount, I could see that much more likely to get through. Whereas this is going to make sure the Netflix team is going to be spending at least the next year, I would assume, working on this. And then since we started,
what do you mean regulatory approval?
Yeah, just trying to get this across the line.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's so hard to make the case that this creates some sort of monopoly. Because Disney owns, it's yes, okay, now Netflix has Squid Game, and they also have Batman, but...
Jason Kilar, who's a former Warner Media CEO, says, if I were tasked with doing so, I could not think of a more effective way to reduce competition in Hollywood than selling WBD to Netflix.
What about selling it to Disney? You literally have Batman, Superman, and all the Marvel characters. You have Spider-Man and Star Wars. That feels like that would be less competitive than having... Right now, from my perspective, you have Batman and Superman kind of off on an island. They haven't really been able to get that engine going to the same degree as Marvel, the Avengers, Thanos, Iron Man,
somebody
Hulk,
named Ben Weiss says, disagree, Hollywood is competing with Silicon Valley, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, preserving some notion of competition in and between legacy Hollywood, risks winning a battle and losing a war. The old media companies need to more of the right type of scale. This does it for WB. Jason says, when I use that phrase competition in Hollywood, I'm referring to having a sufficient number of vibrant and robust entities that can and will aggressively compete against each other to produce and distribute films, series, live events, and more for decades to come. I'm not focused on the legacy of it all. So
I would still say this is number 2, but it might be high, but just in terms of Hollywood filmmaking, these feel like extremely competitive areas. There are so many different streaming services and bundles that you can piece together. There are folks who are like, you know what, I order from Amazon, so I have Amazon Prime. That's where I watch everything. There are still people that just go to Apple TV and just buy a movie. You can still just do that. You can be off in the Netflix ecosystem. You can be in the Hulu ecosystem. It doesn't feel like there's a crazy lack of competition in media right now. So I don't know. I would be somewhat surprised if this doesn't go through. But I mean, you never know.
I don't know. I think Netflix. Again, we were before this. We were having lunch with cable exec, and he was kind of bringing up how Netflix had gotten caught up a little bit in kind of some of the woke stuff. And again, I just think in Trump America. It just feels far more likely that the Allisons could get a deal done, and they're notoriously absolute dogs.
There's a rumor that they're going to go, that they're going to they're going to try and outbid.
Yeah. Right? So right now, this is Chris Gasparino over at Fox says, Scoop, as reported, Paramount and Skydance is now looking to launch a hostile bid for WBD because it feels its $30 a share all cash offer is actually higher than what Netflix offered in terms of cash, stock, and the value of the spin-off of the cable business. So this is still developing, but anyways.
Trump Fan had some interesting backstory. He says, wild outcome, especially after these 3 wild what-ifs before Netflix IPO'd in 2002. Before Netflix IPO'd in 2002, apparently Bezos offered $12 million to buy it. Can you imagine if Netflix had sold for $12 billion?
Well, they also tried to sell the Blockbuster during the...
So Blockbuster had a chance to buy it for $50 million, and they laughed it off. But then it was just a DVD delivery service, and they were like, we can build this. We have DVDs. We have all the infrastructure. We can just take it from the stores. We don't need to do this. But what they didn't realize was that actually building technology, actually building a real tech streaming service and scaling that platform. I mean, Netflix has some of the greatest just infrastructure.
Well, and even the early recommendation engines. I remember my dad being like, Yeah, Netflix just recommended it. It knows what I like, and it just said it sent me this. They said you're going to enjoy this.
And then Bernard Arnault saved it with a $30 million check. You know this? Netflix and Bernard Arnault
over the top.
I love it. I love it. I was thinking about the actual value of putting these things together because, like, you were making the point that putting Netflix and Warner Brothers together, it doesn't, like, everyone's already subscribed to Netflix. I don't know if that's true. If the trends continue, like, Netflix has a fair amount of like they have their Squid Games, they have some big IP, but if you just think about like the drumbeat of HBO come back every season. Oh, you're not watching Game of Thrones? You're out of the loop. Oh, you're not watching Succession? You're out of the loop. Like, the conversation driving shows, I feel like, are on HBO much more consistently than Netflix.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't even know if I'm logged into Netflix on my phone right now. I know I'm still paying, but I really don't watch it very much. And I think that the reason is because I just haven't had... you're missing out on FOMO
as somebody, so you're a true enthusiast. For me, as someone who's not an enthusiast, I'll go to Prime because I'm like, I rarely watch movies. If I'm going to watch a movie, I want to just, I'm happy to just buy. I'm not going
I do
like,
the same thing
let me get
Apple TV.
Let me get the free option on Netflix. I'm like, I will just buy the thing that I want to fill this 90 minutes with.
Yes.
Anyway, so the deal doesn't include WBD's cable channels such as CNN, TNT, TBS, and Discovery, which are being spun off.
Okay. We don't know where that will land yet, or are people speculating?
Even if Netflix gets regulatory approval, it will have to take on $50 billion in debt to complete the deal, and will spend a couple of years cutting costs to reduce that debt. Netflix does do around 9 or 10 billion in free cash flow, and so they can certainly service the debt. But anyways, in the first 9 months of this year, WBD's studio and streaming operations generated $2.3 billion in earnings in EBITDA. Next year, Netflix executives said they expected the Warner business to generate $3 billion in EBITDA. That's a price of 27.5 times EBITDA after taking into account cost savings of $2.5 billion they expect to make. Netflix says the deal value represents a multiple of 14.3 times. WBD's traditional rivals, Disney and Paramount Skydance, are each trading around 11 times. Anyways, we can kind of skip over this.
Kramer said, so out of the box, Netflix as the world's biggest content creator by far. Exciting, but not necessarily in a good way for shareholders. I think that's so funny. Let me tell you about Fin.ai, the #1 AI agent for customer service. Automate the most complex customer service queries on every channel. Adam Faze, who's coming out on the show in just an hour or two, he says, I don't think people realize the licensing business Netflix is about to have if this deal goes through. Warner Brothers' animated IP library alone would bring in billions in new merchandising revenue, coupled with new versions of these iconic shows on the platform. Game over. And he lists some of these out, and one of them I think is hilarious is Foghorn Leghorn. They own Looney Tunes, so they have Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Sylvester, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote. These are time-honored, iconic characters. I just think it's funny because very clearly there are a series of bankers out there that have a spreadsheet, and somewhere they have a row, and on that row is Foghorn Leghorn, and attached to Foghorn Leghorn is the value of the intellectual property of Foghorn Leghorn, who's like a large rooster who talks with a funny accent. And I just imagine that they're out there saying, like, yeah, Foghorn Leghorn, that's like $30 million. That's a $30 million business. Like, okay, Yosemite Sam, that's a $50 million business. Porky Pig? Porky Pig's $80 million. Well, let's do a sum of the parts. I really hope that someone on Wall Street, some investment banker...
It's actually Adam Ant is being really undervalued.
Exactly.
We actually think this is a $2 billion property.
Oh, Dick Dastardly? You think Dick Dastardly is worth $8 million in intellectual property value? Yeah, right. What about Snagglepuss?
I don't even know. I thought you were making some of these up.
This is part of the Hanna-Barbera. Quick Draw McGraw. Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, the Herculoids. Herculoid sounds like some crazy anon meme.
Boo boo.
Herculoid seems like someone with a Roman statue avatar.
Okay, so Polymarket has who will acquire WB at 86% today.
Okay,
Paramount is still
huge.
only sitting at 6%.
6%. So the come from behind.
Amazon is still up there.
Yes.
Anyways.
Okay.
So.
Well, let me tell you about Addio, the AI native CRM. Addio builds, scales, and grows your company to the next level. The DC comic books. I feel like there's I feel like Netflix could do something cool here. I feel like Batman, Joker, Harley Quinn, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash. Like, these are iconic characters. These are Halloween costume characters. They are still really known. But the last round of DC, it just didn't break through in the way the Marvel series did. And Marvel broke through in such a massive way. It didn't have the cachet of the Dark Knight and the Nolan films. But is there any way that they can get Nolan back in the seat to actually do a full arc or something? I don't know. I would just hope that I just grew up with the Nolan era of DC, and I would have loved him to go on and do more of that with Superman, with the whole crew, everyone coming together. And instead, they got just really over the top with the CGI and the slow-mo and the Zack Snyder era, and I think a lot of people sort of got tired of it. And I'm looking forward to whatever they wind up doing next. Oh, they have Metalocalypse. That's a great one. I like Robot Chicken, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They got a ton of stuff. So it'll be interesting to keep following it. Anyway, you want to go to Possum? Oh. What's Mike Miraflor saying?
Mike Miraflor says we already have Nano Banana Pro TVC commercials with decent paid media budgets behind them. Everything is moving so quickly.
Okay.
So James Harden is in an ad for My Prize. I don't know what My Prize is. Said this is the best commercial he's ever been in, and he never stepped foot on the set. Let me show you how to crack the code on celeb deepfakes for this My Prize ad we did with James Harden. So this is a guy named Billy Woodward, who's been doing. How much do you think
they're actually putting behind this this ad on TV? Because it looks like a TV commercial, but this also could just be a viral marketing campaign on.
Oh, wow, My Prize is a premium online casino games.
Wow,
Play
James
games
Harden is
and
getting
win.
in on the gambling trade.
Surprised he doesn't have an official prediction market partner yet. In other news, this almost seems like it could be fake.
Before you share this news, let me tell you about Restream. One live stream, 30 plus destinations. If you want to multi-stream, go to restream.com. So, what is it? There's news out of the Truth Social.
I don't know if this is real because not a single. There's a very viral post right now that says breaking. President Trump set to announce a new AI platform called Truth AI. There's not a single legacy media institution has reported on this that I've found. So I would, given that this is a story that they'd be very excited to cover, I would be wary that it's real yet. But that's not stopping Jay Bull, TARD, from saying, and you guys think Google won the AI race, talking about how Trump is set to unveil new AI platform, Truth AI. I wonder if Truth Social popped at all today off of...
Truth Social...
No, it's down.
Down 3%. Well,
like he's splitting his...
lack of focus.
Lack of focusing.
Yeah, you should be focused. You have to lock
it's underrated.
in on one thing. If you're a social media entrepreneur, I mean, it's Mark Zuckerberg getting dinged for going
he's walking some of the metaverse stuff back.
Maybe the Truth Social team's getting dinged for heading over to AI land instead of just doing a partnership. You know what the crazy thing is? Like, I keep laughing about this fact that, like, it has got to be so hard to justify an in-house AI foundation model training run now if you're a big platform, when the rebuttal has to be, okay, so you're saying that you need to do something special, you need to do something creative, you need to do some weird deal with some other people, put something together, but Apple can just work with Google.
Yeah.
It's enough for Apple to work with Google.
Enough for you.
Apple works to just buy tokens from Gemini, from Google. But your business is more special than Apple's.
I think Apple is in the position where they're like, we don't need to prove to, like, I feel like an analyst can look at Apple and say, like, they will have leverage in AI.
Yes.
At least today.
This is what
where there's other businesses that feel like, okay, we need an AI strategy. It's not enough to just announce a partnership with a lab.
Yes.
We need to, like, actually own the weights.
Yeah. Yeah, we should actually get into some of the Apple departures because we talked about this briefly. But the Wall Street Journal is saying that Apple departures point to challenges for iPhone's dominance, and I think it's too early to call the iPhone challenged. I feel like the iPhone's dominance has not been challenged yet. Maybe that is coming, but there have been several top lieutenants who have left in the past 12 months, and dozens of others have defected to rivals. So there are some facts that are important to consider and walk through here. So the Wall Street Journal is summarizing it this way. They say, Apple is facing a wave of executive departures as the company continues a period of transition, not only among its leadership, but if rivals have their way, for its businesses as well. On Thursday, the company announced that its general counsel and head of policy will both retire next year. On Wednesday, a top designer left for Meta Platforms. On Monday, Apple said its head of artificial intelligence strategy would retire. Its chief operating officer announced its retirement in July, and the CFO has transitioned into a new role. So lots of are the heads rolling, or are these retirements? There's a lot of sort of management. It feels like Apple's just not the place to let the drama kind of come to them. They're like, look, even if you got poached, maybe we just.
Well, it was notable because Apple came out with an announcement after the guy left for Meta and said we're basically tried to make it sound like it was like they were positioning it as mutual, this was the right time for him to go on. And I'll let anyone else kind of read into whether or not it was really. DHH was getting over 37 signals, but says Apple was overdue for a full executive reset. Just need to add Cook to the list. And for a replacement, Forstall is only 56. Time for a comeback.
That would be very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of Forstall fans out there who think that he didn't get it right, or he didn't get the opportunity he deserved.
Cook can't catch a break. He's
I still think Cook's done a lot of good stuff. I'm still bullish on Cook, but I don't know. Let's see. It says the executive departures underscore a changing of the guard underway at Apple. Even as Chief Executive Officer Tim Cook himself shows no sign of stepping down, even though everyone is leaking a variety of rumors to the contrary. Cook and his new lieutenants face a critical test, preparing Apple for the AI era and a wave of new competitive devices that results. We haven't seen the wave of new competitive devices just yet. Apple. There's another way to tell the story, which is Apple defeated the Rabbit R1. They defeated the Friend attack. They defeated, what was the other one that was the Humane Pin? Oh, they're singing Happy Birthday out there.
They're singing Happy Birthday.
It's someone's birthday.
It's one of the guys down on the trading floor.
Oh, he's got a whole cake out there. That's great. Good guy. Well,
very sweet. Why don't you tell us about your phone,
Turbo
John?
Puffer. Serverless vector and full text
search.
For
Turbo Puffer?
Built from burst principles on object storage. Fast, 10x, cheaper, and extremely scalable. We love Turbo Puffer.
That was really funny yesterday, having Jim Cramer reference the
Turbo Puffer
Simon
bit. That was a very
Turbo Puffer team.
That was a
crazy crossover.
That was a very
that was a deep cut, Cramer.
Yeah, that was a deep cut on the show.
We have some Jacob Rintamaki tagged us in a post here. SpaceX tells investors it's aiming for a late 2026 IPO. Katie Roof over at The Information
has the scoop.
Apparently, Elon Musk SpaceX has told investors and financial institutions that it is aiming for an IPO in the second half of next year. The talk comes as SpaceX considers holding a sale of shares held by investors and employees that would value the company at $800 billion. Quite the markup. Double its valuation in a sale this summer, and what would make it the most valuable private company. He's got to be the most valuable private company. It probably candidly makes him sick that OpenAI has briefly eclipsed. The company is considering a public listing of the entire company, including Starlink, which makes sense. I think Starlink is a huge part of obviously the value of the business, and I just don't think it goes out anywhere near 800 without it, and they're very interlinked. That is a change, though, from a few years ago when Musk said he expected SpaceX would eventually spin off Starlink and take it public, but executives have shelved the idea of a Starlink spinoff as its rocket business has improved. Apparently, the Wall Street Journal reported on the share sale at 800. Anyways, in other news, Mark Benioff is saying that he might rename the company Agent Force.
Yeah.
Trace Cohen says just Force. Why not just Force?
Ooh, Force. Well, isn't there Force India, the F1 team from a couple of years ago? BYT or BWT, Force India? That was like a team.
I think they struggled.
I gotta find that. What was Force India? Was that Force India?
Benioff is on a tear. His pinned tweet right now. LLMs are the new disk drives. Commodity infrastructure you hot swap for whoever's cheapest and best. The fantasy that the model is a moat just expired.
People are really going wild.
They're going off down here.
Do you think he does it? Is there a prediction market yet up for renaming of Salesforce? I think Salesforce is such a strong name, even if they do more than sales at this point. It's transcended the company has definitely transcended what they do. I think people know.
Why not just sales? I like just sales. Just be Sales Inc.
I don't think you can be. I think that's too generic.
I don't know.
For
not if
what
you're.
you do.
He would have to update the ticker too. It's still
the ticker
CRM.
is the bigger one.
Yeah.
Because Salesforce. Because
everyone wants to be like CRMs are dead. You're going to just be able to just generate a CRM on the fly.
Yeah.
Buco Capital says, F it, nothing else is working. Go for it, brother.
A name change sometimes will fix you. Just let it rip.
Ethan Ding was coming in with some commentary.
Yeah.
He said yesterday it should be extremely alarming to Salesforce investors that no exec at Salesforce is telling him that's not a lot of tokens. Of course, they talked about generating 3.2 trillion tokens. Sounds like a big number. Ethan says, for anyone who doesn't understand, Cursor processes more tokens than Salesforce all-time figure every 6 days. Salesforce has 20 million users.
Yep.
I mean, Cursor has a similar amount of users, I think.
Sure.
Assuming same average token count per active Agent Force user count is 40 to 60,000 truly active users, aka 0.2 to 0.3% adoption 3 years after launch.
Yeah, I wonder. All tokens are not created equal. Like you can generate so many tokens if you're doing these deep research reports, and if you had Agent Force going around and effectively running a deep research report on every contact in every CRM under
every conversation. Every time you get a new email from a lead, right?
The token generation could be incredibly high and also deliver very little value. On the flip side, you could have a really fine-tuned model that is, laser focused, more of a scalpel.
Yeah.
And you could be getting a lot of value out of those tokens that you are generating. Yeah. So I don't really know.
On the app layer debate, are CRMs cooked? There's a post here from Kalen. He says, just met a company that vibe coded an entire CRM to avoid paying for HubSpot over the last year. It's now become a burden to maintain and missing key functionality, third-party interoperability as they scale. They're now migrating to HubSpot. App layer is fine. We experienced this. I think it's so easy to make a V1.
Totally.
You can make a V1 in a day. And so you assume okay, you can spend another few days really building out more of a feature set, and the reality is the thing that you generate in one day could take 10, at least for now, hours and hours and hours every week just to maintain it and make incremental improvements.
Let me tell you about Linear. Linear's a purpose-built tool. Meet the system for modern software development. Linear streamlines work across the entire development cycle from roadmap to release. I didn't vibe code a CRM, but back in college, I built a CRM inside of Microsoft Excel. And so
that's the classic.
Yeah,
that's
so
the real competitor for a startup.
Yeah.
It was okay, you could go from Sheets or Excel to maybe an Airtable, slightly more robust, then to Adio or a HubSpot and then eventually get over to Salesforce.
Also, the question about the value of the platform and the value of the app layer. We were talking about this with Shopify folks. There are so many companies. I've worked at these companies. I've run these companies where we said no. Our use case is special. no one's going to build an e-commerce site exactly the way we want to build it. And so we wind up building an entire e-commerce stack, custom, and then a couple of years later, Shopify just catches up, and then boom, you're back on Shopify. And that just happened time and time again. I lived it at Soylent. It was a wild time.
This is some wild news. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and Jeff Wu are starting an 8-week accelerator. It's a $25K safe followed by a $100,000 price round for a total of 7% equity. A lot of people are confused about doing it as a price round for 100K. A founder could easily end up spending like 30 grand, depending on who their lawyer is, working through.
That is tricky,
so it's like a 100K investment, and then you have let's assume you're like super efficient, and it's like 10 grand. It's like,
it's kind of annoying.
And then it's annoying. That said, I think there's a lot of interesting businesses that could go through this that would really benefit from working with Jake and Logan and Jeff, right?
It's so interesting that it's a $25K safe and then a $100,000 price round. Like, why not just $125 for 7%, like on a safe with a cap that ensures that they get 7% no matter what? Like, I would love to talk to them. I think hopefully we're going to be able to get Jeff Wu on the show at some point. We can ask him about how he is, thinking about that particular term. I know a lot of people here are saying 7% for 125K, that's low. And that's certainly lower than YC. YC, you come in with I think a $10 million valuation. This is more like a $1 million valuation. But if you're an earlier in your career, you're not ready to go to a different higher valuation, this could still be a good
Or you
deal.
don't need a lot of capital for your business, but you do need a lot of attention. I could see some consumer brands getting started this way.
No, I just remember YC was my North Star for what I wanted to get into with my first business. But I got denied the first time I applied, and I was like, if you gave me $5,000 for 10% of the business, I would take it because I want to work on my thing and I want to keep going. Yeah. And yes, at some point it can be predatory, but with some of the first ideas that I was coming up with, I definitely didn't deserve 125K for 7% because they were slop companies that were very unlikely to succeed. Yeah. So I don't know. There's something interesting. I do wonder if they will position this as, okay, you're going to be able to accelerate on the go-to-market side. You're going to be able to accelerate on the creator side, creator partnerships. This will be there's a whole bunch of different ways. It could be something where you're going through this accelerator because you get to ask Logan and Jake about their media creation, their creator work, and then you're launching your company, more likely to go viral because these guys really understand virality. On the other side, it could be you're coming in and you're taking a crack at building something that might wind up being more like an incubation for them. Because I'm sure that they want to launch a bunch of products. This is a way to just kind of take swings and get close to working with people. And then if something lines up, they could say, hey, we actually want to do a 50-50 deal. And this is going to be Logan and Jake as co-founders of the next thing that they're working on together. And we're going to really, really push this for you. We'll be your marketing arm. Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see where these companies go.
Jeff and Jake, I think, are coming on the show in the next couple weeks before the end of the year. So we will be able to ask them more about that.
Before we move on, let me tell you about Profound. Get your brand mentioned in ChatGPT and more. Reach millions of consumers who use AI to discover new products and brands.
Aaron has a good post here. It says the remaining Apple leadership team.
Who is this?
It's Travis Scott, Tim Cook,
and Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast did say that he's going to film on iPhones. I'm not sure what the Travis Scott connection is. Has he done a partnership with Apple in one way?
No, it's just...
there are still plenty of folks. Eddie Q is still there. The Apple leadership team is still stacked. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. There are still people here. And we have our first
Keith
guest,
Rabois, in the Restream waiting room,
right
getting
over there,
geared up.
Physical Restream waiting room.
They put the moon on the sphere.
Ooh.
They put cheese on the sphere.
No.
The Sphere Vegas says we're sending off the last supermoon of 2025 with something special. Using NASA's public domain lunar data, our team built a true-to-science moon that's lighting up this Las Vegas skyline. This looks
really cool.
Absolutely insane.
I still think the sphere is underrated. It's so cool.
We don't know how to build beautiful things anymore.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, we do. We do.
People look at this and they think, the New York Stock Exchange, how did they build this? Was this built by humans? There's a lot of debate. But the sphere really reinstates, yes, we can build amazing things.
Yeah, humans built that.
Yeah.
Humans built the sphere.
Have you heard about the heating? The level of engineering that went into actually driving the screens on the outside? Because at that scale, each pixel is not like your laptop. It's not like your phone. It's like a bright light. Like each pixel is like this big, and it's a light.
Yeah.
So that light, even if it's an LED, it still produces heat. And then you have a whole bunch of them that are all heating each other up.
Right next to each other.
And then you put it in the hottest place in the world, in the desert. And so there's just been a phenomenal amount of energy. And I'm surprised. People are so ready to dunk on this and be like, oh, it failed. Like if it shut off, if it showed like a blue screen of death or like an error message, that would be so viral. That would actually be a good campaign. That would be a great campaign if you were marketing it and the video that you put up showed the Windows blue screen of death, like the fail, it broke, because then you'd go viral. If someone was like, oh wow, what were they advertising? Oh, they were running an ad for TBPN and the ad was too good and it crashed the whole software or something. Because the Shopify guys came on, they were like, we're doing this live, we're live streaming to the sphere, it's very cool. But if you can figure out how to crash the sphere, or at least make it look like you crashed the sphere, I think you have some viral potential. Well, let me tell you about numeral.com. Compliance handled. Numeral worries about sales tax and VAT compliance, so you can focus on growth. And we have our first guest of the show. We have Keith Rabois here in New York City, coming on down. Ooh, look at this span.
What's going on?
Thank you, Keith. Good to see you.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome to New
Thank
York.
you so much. Thanks for having us. You are the mayor of New York now. We have a partnership with the New York Stock Exchange. It's a great setup. It looks great. And obviously it gives us easy access to folks like you.
That's true.
So thanks so much for coming on down. How have you been? What's new in your world?
Great, pretty busy.
Okay.
You might have heard Venture's pretty busy right now.
It is.
People are doing deals every day,
Yes.
investing left and right, crazy valuations.
Is that a green flag for you, or is that a red flag? How are you thinking?
It's hard to tell.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are going to lose money.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not included.
Yep.
But the valuations have an extra zero.
Yes.
Sometimes two.
Literally, before this recent sort of trend, I had never invested an entry price for any normal company above an $86 million valuation.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that whole world is completely different.
Yeah.
So everything seems to have.
How many deals a year are you trying to get in under 10? Because I would
I would love
imagine
to
you
do them
still.
all.
No, I know.
I mean,
but realistically, in the last
it's
years, it may be
become very-
one a year.
Yeah,
and it's
so
somebody you knew well, so you can.
My philosophy is bold, early, impactful. So bold, early, impactful. That's the KV mantra.
Yeah.
I love that. So early means first institutional capital. Even today, if you're right, bold and early, that still may be over $10 million.
Yeah.
It used to be, $500K. When I invested in Airbnb, it was $500K, 3.5 million post.
Wow.
DoorDash was something like 8 to 10 post.
Yeah.
So, the world's very, very different. Now, they're going to be epic companies. What is very clear is some of these companies are absolutely iconic and will be iconic for decades. I doubt there's as many as people think. So the argument goes that, we've changed the physics and there's going to be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $100 billion plus companies. I don't believe that.
That's tough.
Certainly not on the consumer side. I don't believe it on the consumer side. Possibly an enterprise. If you believe AI is going to transform every business everywhere, possibly. But the consumer side, consumers are busy. There's only 24 hours in a day. Tech doesn't change that yet.
Yeah.
And so every time someone adopts a new app, a new product as a consumer, they have to substitute from their friends, from their family, from church, from basketball.
Yeah.
And so the bar just keeps going up.
Yeah.
So I don't really believe there's going to be too many breakthrough consumer companies. ChatGPT, OpenAI will be one.
Yeah.
Not really sure who else.
And it just feels like we're in this era where if you do have a breakthrough, the big tech companies are in an offensive position. They're in wartime mode. Some of them, like Meta, are they're founder-led still. They're still in founder mode, and so you're going to have a pretty good copycat on your tail within 6 months of you going viral, within a year?
I think
what are you
that is
thinking
an
about
interesting dynamic. Typically, the large companies, we'd all make fun of. All of us are entrepreneurs, and we'd all make fun of these old, sluggish, large companies with tens of thousands of employees.
Now they're our friends.
Well, they may not be your friends, but they are fast, and they're paying attention.
Yep.
Like, they're usually sloppy and slow.
Yep.
Like, I remember when we were doing PayPal, eBay was like the most incompetent organization on the planet.
Yes.
Like, Google was literally being built underneath them.
Yes.
And eBay hired like management consultants at Bain and told them, don't worry about Google.
Yes.
Like, that was the classic like large tech company.
Yes.
And admittedly, Meg was worse than most, but like still. Now, all the large tech companies, except Apple, seem to be paying attention.
Okay.
Apple is behind the 8 ball in AI.
Yeah, unpack that a little bit, because there's a lot of departures, and you're wearing an Apple Watch today. Like, you're not giving it up anytime soon.
I have my Air. I love my Air.
Okay.
So the hardware is still the best.
What's the nature of the risk? Because I don't see us actually going somewhere else, because we're locked in, right?
No, I think building vertically integrated products. So to do hardware well, you need hardware skills. Supply chain, battery innovation. That's before you get to the software integration. But does somebody figure out how to do an AI unique to AI custom device that is compelling? Possibly. Depends on what time frame we're talking. Next year, unlikely. 10 years, I'd be willing to bet. More likely than not. So at some point, Apple will be exposed.
Bernard Arnault has a best quote here. He's like, it's something like, in 50 years, will people be drinking champagne? I think yes. In 50 years, will we all be using iPhone? He's like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll take the champagne, or at least tequila.
How is your kind of view on Google's competitiveness in AI changed over time, if at all?
Well, I do think we had a debate several years ago. Is it a sustaining innovation, disruptive innovation? After ChatGPT, it's clearly more disruptive potentially. And I do think they are paying attention. They are taking it seriously. That said, ChatGPT is still the fastest growing consumer product in the last 15 years. And I think if OpenAI plays its cards well and focuses on ChatGPT versus gets distracted as being a pure research lab, so there's probably this tension there. Research lab, AGI, blah, 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 comes at sacrificing the quality and speed.
It's not just that, but it's let's launch a short form video app. Let's automate. Let's do all the science. Let's do Sam. I mean, I think Sam's answer to Brad, which kicked off like a broader discussion. He was saying, "We're fine. We're going to do consumer electronics and we're going to do science." And I think a lot of people read into that and just say like, "Hey, Google does that. They lose a lot of money on it. It's not exactly a profit center."
And those are other bets.
Google mints money, so to be clear, so they can fund it. I think there's some things that Sam has to do. Hardware is probably one, because the risk that somebody else puts AI together on a consumer device before he does can rip them sort of out of the food chain. What do you think about?
How are you processing Apple with Gemini as a risk to ChatGPT? Because to be clear, like Gemini has an amazing model. They're well behind on a product experience standpoint. But there are quite a lot of searches that I hit ChatGPT or Gemini with that, like a Siri integrated with Gemini, I'd be going there right away if it was like integrated.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of query you're doing or prompt you're doing.
Yeah, but right now, if I hit like for a fact, that's not that far away from doing a comp like a
Sure, but then there's other kinds of prompts where you didn't used to maybe even use Google. Like for example, I asked ChatGPT to write a book outline for me, a book proposal. I wouldn't have thought of
you're not Googling
using Google for that.
You could probably one-shot a book with a right prompt because you have so many podcasts.
So much about you.
Outline was actually good.
You've done like 300 hours of podcasts.
Moderately creative. What I expected, and this blew me away, was that there was a spark of ingenuity to the proposal. It wasn't just like right down the middle.
Totally.
I tried it on Gemini.
So you're writing a book?
No, but maybe one day. So the problem with long-form content is apparently because of token rationing. Yeah.
Okay.
If you try long-form content, they only spend a certain amount of tokens on you.
Sure.
So it degrades. So you'd have to write almost like a paragraph or a page at a time.
Okay.
Otherwise, the quality will degrade.
Sure.
But the outline, the proposal was actually quite good. I did try it on Gemini. It wasn't as good.
Yeah.
So I think 5.1, ChatGPT 5.1 thinking mode actually still has a bit of a human personality, and I don't see that when I try the same prompts in Gemini. So I think you could build an excellent cutting-edge human personality product if you focus.
Yeah.
And then I think you do need to try a device just to make sure you're kind of not blindsided by somebody else. Some of the other stuff, though, may interfere. There's only so much talent. There's only so much bandwidth. Sam only has so many hours in the day, et cetera. May interfere with success with ChatGPT. ChatGPT should be a $4 trillion business if you maximize it.
Yeah. Talk about hardware. It feels like we're in this weird era where everything's getting more capital intensive earlier and earlier. We were talking to John Cito.
So this is a good
yesterday.
question. I think there's some companies where that's true.
Okay.
Some types of markets, some types of products. I think other people are raising capital for no apparent reason. Like, let's talk Harvey, illegal AI. I have a competitor investment that doesn't need a lot of capital.
Which one are you in?
It's called Spellbook.
Oh, Spellbook. We've had the founder.
They target somewhat different markets, but directionally legal AI. But there's no real reason to spend that money. Like in other words, their compute costs can't be that high.
Sure, because they should be able to pass that through as gross margin. Like they should have good gross margins on day one. Effectively.
So when I invest in AI companies, so 2/3 or 3/4, somewhere in between, of all my investments over the last 18 months are AI based.
Yes.
Mostly application layer, but not all.
Yes.
Of the application layer ones, I expect them to have positive gross margins.
Yes.
Extremely positive gross margins, actually.
Yes.
I'm like, you have to build a business too.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in these excuses. Now, if you're building frontier models and cutting edge, or you're going to do hardware, you're clearly going to spend money, or infrastructure, clearly going to lose money intentionally. And that's always been true in tech. But if you're building an application layer, I don't buy that your margins should be upside down.
There was this hilarious expose on Hacker News about AI startups that aren't actually training their own models. They're just wrappers. And they were breaking down the gross margin. I was like, this is a VC's like celebration.
It looked good.
So happy good. Because they were like...
The only thing that was bad is they were kind of making the claim that they were like more of a research organization.
Training models when they're not. But my takeaway was that like the wrapper market is extremely healthy in certain markets.
Because workflow, like if you think about it, you have to productize things.
Yeah.
Like if I'm working as an investment banker, or an accountant, or a lawyer, it's not just the performance of the model I care about. It's like how efficient, how does it improve my life?
Yes.
And that's a function of how intuitive is the UI, how easy does it make the entire job to be done, so to speak. To be accomplished. So it's not just a model performance. I think when I'm looking for like an application layer CEO, I want them to really understand what they're building for, why, and what the P&L impact to their target customers are. Like in legal, like it's actually a complicated question because of the billable hour. You don't necessarily want to make your lawyers more efficient if you're on a law firm.
We've been talking about this so much. We had I know a lawyer who switched firms because he knew he was with a big, probably top 30 law firm. He's like, they are not going to adjust in time. Like they're like, we like that our associates are just running up hours on tasks that could be one-shotted by AI.
I built 3,600 hours my last month as a lawyer.
And what is...
There's also the last month as a lawyer.
Yeah,
next time someone tells you they're working too hard in tech, I'm like, I literally built 3,600 hours.
Wait,
now, that was not my average month, but still. I hit it over 3,000 a few months a year, though, usually.
But an associate today will do like a few thousand a year?
The culture is degraded to like...
Wait, but how do you bill 3,000
I wasn't even in the top of the firm.
You did it in a year.
I wasn't anywhere near the top 5%.
You mean a year, right? You mean a year, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, 360. Oh, sorry, here it is. 360 hours in January 2000.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the top associates in S&T were over 3,000 for the year.
Yeah.
I'd be like 2,700, so I was a slacker.
I mean, you're a buyer of legal products as well as an investor in legal AI products. Are you advising your portfolio companies to push harder on their law firms to get better deals?
Well, so every founder I know actually uses ChatGPT for legal research. Then they call up their lawyer, and their lawyer's giving them advice, and they're literally cutting it. Sometimes they're actually screenshotting and saying, what you're telling me is wrong.
Does ChatGPT need some legal, clearly a lot of people are using it, but there was just a judgment today that was requiring ChatGPT to turn over a bunch of stuff.
So it's not privileged. It's technically not privileged.
Sure.
So it's complicated to use it. They could... We'll see how the law evolves, but it's probably the right decision as a legal matter. But I do know, I had a conversation with the CEO of a more than $100 billion company. And he has a legal team that spends $40 million a year. And he authorized all his lawyers to use ChatGPT.
Wow.
He's just like, look, you need to adopt this tool.
I mean, they all use Google.
Make it more efficient.
So,
right, of course. So if a lawyer technically uses ChatGPT, it might be privileged. But if you, as a consumer, normal person, input stuff like, how do I hide the murder weapon? That is definitely not privileged.
I wonder if there's certain businesses that start and build knowing that they're going to get sued a lot. I wonder if this levels the playing field for businesses like that are kind of going after markets that don't want innovation, and they can just say like, yeah, we would have needed a team of 20 lawyers back in the day, but actually now we can have like a few like really efficient.
Yeah, well, there are startups in the legal space that basically are a substitute for a lawyer.
Sure.
And then there's the legal AI startups that make lawyers more efficient.
And which is Spellbook?
Spellbook is making lawyers, mostly making lawyers
SaaS
more
for
successfully.
firms?
For firms and now for companies.
Got it.
We have a lot of actually Fortune 1000 companies.
Okay.
Because if you think about the incentives of a corporate legal department, they're different than the law firm friends of yours.
Yep.
Like corporate legal departments want to spend less and get faster responses.
Yep.
So it makes tons of sense, and then you can customize to the culture of that company.
Yeah.
So like eBay uses Spellbook, for example, and they have their own preferences about how they want to practice law, and we can implement that on software versus like Google's not a customer, but Google might have different preferences.
Yeah. We've been seeing this new trend. I mean, the lineage here in legal is ClearSpire and then Atrium, and now people are trying it again. What do you think about folks who say, I was on a particular track where I'd be at a firm. Now I'm going to start an AI-powered firm. Should they be raising money, or should they just go do that on their own?
Well, potentially, usually the way they start, though, is a ratio of humans and models.
Yeah.
It's not like just all model.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going to have to pay lawyers for a while.
Okay.
And like you want to take the ratio from 80% humans to 80% automation, and like hopefully quickly. Atrium basically never did that. And maybe they didn't have the technology to do it. They got hooked on the drug, I think, of just like...
I knew some of the machine learning folks at Atrium at the time, and they were like, we're close to understanding documents with AI. But close doesn't pay the bills.
Close doesn't pay the bills, so you still need a human in the loop
Yep.
technically for most of these products right now. But that's going to change, and the ratio should be like one human for 99 customers, or 99 documents, or 9,000 documents. And then the economics could work. But I think you would need to raise venture money up front.
Sure.
Also, maybe for credibility, there's some signaling, like people are buying enterprise all across the globe, any vertical, are buying AI products. That's what's allowed these vertical application companies to hit $100 million in revenue quickly. Is there's top-down demand at very large Fortune
how do you assess quality of revenue if a founder comes to you and says, yeah, I am raising at $100 million for my first round, but I have a $5 million deal with some Fortune 500 company, and so it's really not that crazy of a revenue multiple, but then you start wondering, obviously, is that going to stick, or can they just bounce?
Well, we ask for the contract, actually, because the terms may vary. Often ask to call the customer. Like, why are you buying this? What do you hope it does, and achieve? What are the business goals? How confident are you that you're achieving those business goals? So that's actually a pretty standard reference.
Just as due diligence. Does that mean that like the level of due diligence required on these deals, even if the early stage, like the round numbers, it might still be a seed, but it's a bigger number, you're treating it with the due diligence that you would bring to an A?
I think you do need to look at what's the source of the revenue, what are the terms of that relationship, are they a pilot, permanent, do they have cancellation rights, and then you can look at the underlying metrics like we always used to, which is what's the active usage. Like ultimately, if everybody in your organization is using the product, even if you have the contractual right to cancel, you're not canceling it. So like you can look at MAUs, DAUs, all those kind of things. And actually we do tend to look at that. I tend to personally look at the engagement metrics as much as the revenue metrics. You can also look at the margin metrics, because ultimately, like, if you give away, someone pays $5 million, but it costs you 10. It's a great deal. Like that's not a long-term business.
I mean, if you're an enterprise, CIO or CTO, you're probably getting pitched some stuff where you're like, wait, I was going to buy those tokens anyway.
There was half the cost is going to be, and I don't even have the infrastructure to run it, so it's like
totally.
I don't have to buy it. I don't have to fix costs.
And it's like,
there was a lot of bearishness around certain vertical specific AI tools and enterprise AI after that MIT report came out that nobody read the source material and just anecdotally it feels incorrect. But I think the simplistic way to look at it is like, will large companies spend more on AI in 2026 than 2025? And I think like you'd lean like
the answer is definitely yes. I mean, I think you could critique. You're right. Nobody read the report. They just read look at the high line, X or something. But I think it comes down to, as Vinoda's talked about, the quality of the implementation. if you have the right people implementing it, you're going to get high quality results. If you just think the software is just going to show up out of the box, it's going to work and transform organization, highly unlikely unless the product was designed to be that way. There are a few products that you see that are designed for a consumer to just or user, like an average employee to just use out of the box. But that's pretty rare. Usually you have some implementation hurdle, and I suspect a lot of these things are getting trapped in the implementation sort of box somewhere.
Do you think that,
you guys have stayed out of the prediction market wars?
We have not invested in a prediction market.
Was there a moment where you wanted to and the dynamics of the round didn't work out, or was that a conscious choice?
It's a good question, and maybe I've been burned because I helped start and seed invested way back in the day this thing called BlueBet, which is an early prediction market.
No way.
It's a really cool product. Kevin Hartz, Javin, and I worked with this founder on back in the day.
Wait,
no
it's
way.
like 2005 or 6.
Isn't he from YouTube or PayPal?
Yeah,
right.
There's never any new ideas.
We could never get it to work. The hardest part that made it work wasn't on the better side or the wager side. It was actually getting enough bets. And maybe now with AI you can scalably create enough interesting bets. Sure. We had to do it by hand. And we just never could get that treadmill working.
Well, you maybe didn't do sports bet.
Well, we didn't do sports bet. It was illegal. So obviously
there's a lot
the
of
on-ramp to traction has been sports and then cleverly politics. We did have political bets there. And so anyway, maybe I was burned by that. Then there's another question, which is I like the political markets. How, I said we're bold, early, and impactful. You do have to start thinking about which market segments are actually positive impact in society.
Sure.
Like just giving average Americans more places to gamble certainly is not something I want to invest in. Now, there are markets that are illiquid, and the byproduct of the liquidity is a good thing for society, like politics. But I don't want too many people speculating. Americans don't have a lot of money. They gamble, that's fine. They bet on sports now, which maybe is fine. They bet on crypto, whether they call it that or not. So adding more speculation to the American, consumer, I'm not sure is something I want to, invest my time in.
How much attention?
We want a healthy American consumer.
How much attention have you paid to just this tension between states clearly want to regulate this stuff, and yet the CFTC has decided, hey, these are event contracts, it's under our jurisdiction. How have you kind of watched that play out?
Obviously the poly market guys have played their cards really well. Controversial, at the beginning, probably very high risk. Alfred, I saw Alfred Lynn talking about it a little bit. I'm sure he probably opposed it, but the founder was pretty tenacious and it worked out. They all played the regulatory cards, in interesting different ways. So it's worked out well for them.
But the story's not over.
Well, I think they're in pretty good shape. The biggest issue they had historically was more U.S. citizens were using their products before they were supposed to. But I think the statute of limitations might sort of be hitting on that.
Sure. It's fascinating. Do you think this will be a political issue in the next cycle? Because in terms of tech stuff that we've been monitoring, it feels like the AI data center energy use, water use, those are the questions that people want to answer in DC. Job displacement stuff.
Job displacement's obviously top of mind.
That's a bigger question than my uncle, he was always a sports bettor. Now he uses a different platform. It's kind of
I think unless people start losing a lot of money. So in sports betting, you definitely have this. You have the opposite of whales. People, whales the company, but people lose massive amount of money, and that becomes a really sad story for them, for their family, and it becomes a political issue. Then, if for some reason you get more people betting, wagering, whatever, predicting. But they're not massively exposed. I think that it won't be a political issue.
We've been tracking AI diffusion. We're obviously excited about a lot of the products getting in people's hands, like Spellbook, like law firm for legal AI. At the same time, we're just not seeing that much job displacement. Maybe it's coming, but it feels like if whatever's happening when somebody lays people off, it's probably not because they're just now it's just a prompt. But do you think tech needs to do a better job of telling that story or understanding how
absolutely.
there will be co-pilots in the future?
I was at a speech that President Trump gave, and he says, I don't like the terms artificial intelligence. You guys need better branding. And nobody's come up with a better answer. I think someone should. Artificial intelligence sounds scary. It sounds bad. Artificial,
robots.
When you say you're having artificial sweeteners, everybody's, So I think you can rebrand it.
Something like that.
Exactly.
Right now it really is like a power up. If you're very creative,
credit to Satya Nadella and the Microsoft folks, like Copilot feels like, okay, I have a helpful assistant that's alongside me. Does the Copilot ever put the pilot out of business? Never.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe it happens, but like in general,
you have a long tail kind of situational planes that makes it prudent. But I don't think there's going to be job elimination. I think there's going to be job substitution.
Sure.
We need more data centers. Yeah. Well, to build data centers requires a lot of advanced plumbing, a lot of advanced electricians. These people get paid a lot of money, like three times.
They're getting
3 times
PJs.
Yeah, 3 to 5x easily the median income in the United States. So we're going to be building a lot of infrastructure. Building infrastructure creates jobs. Are the people who are doing this now going to have to substitute something else? Maybe. But I do think there is going to be some substitution for white collar work, like accounting, lawyers, maybe primary care doctors.
So what advice would you give to a high school student?
I think you're still learn reading, writing, and math very well.
Even though the computers can read, they can write, and they can definitely do math.
You need to know the fundamentals. I mean, there's a research paper I retweeted this week about if you handwrite your notes versus type your notes in class, on any metric you do much better.
And where? If they're in middle school, if they're in high school, should they be fighting tooth and nail to get into the Ivy League? Where are they going? Where are they learning?
Well, that's a good question. Chill Fellows seem to work out well.
It does.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan as well.
My kids are 4. I hope by the time they better not have to go to college by the time they grow up. It'd be really sad.
Because you're not saving for it?
No.
Sorry, no college.
We're spending it on AI.
We'll get them a little data center.
What about for the next generation of entrepreneurs that are just getting to Silicon Valley right now, and they're seeing a trend of what we call like the deal guy yuga, the deal guy era? This idea that it used to be you get to Silicon Valley and you're writing code and you're in the basement or you're in the garage, you write the code and then you put it on the internet and everyone shows up and your elegant algorithm just produces Google and then you create $1 trillion in value, and it's because you're the PhD scientist, you're the mathematician that you get rewarded. And now it feels like you can maybe make it in Silicon Valley, maybe not caring so much about the technical aspects, but instead about the deals, putting pieces together.
That's a little scary. That's a little scary.
So the funny thing though is like people use Sam as an example of this, but like he was running a research lab for years, and so like even though like
also
maybe
he was a CS dropout.
He was also a CS dropout and like definitely built like an app.
He built an app. But the reason why it's scary, and this is maybe betraying my age, is back in the late bubble, internet bubble, 96, 2000. There used to be all these what we used to call business dev people running around all the companies and all doing all these deals. And then the bubble collapsed. And a lot of people ascribed the bubble and collapse to these biz dev people.
Oh, interesting.
So everybody stopped using the label. When was the last time you met a biz dev person? Like never. Like for the last 25 years.
They've all BDR, but
they've all
like
rebranded.
Lower,
well, biz dev was like hires, like partnerships.
Sure. That was like I come to you, I say, Keith, I'm gonna give you $100 million of revenue, and you're like, funny enough, I'm also gonna give you $100 million.
Well, I'm gonna invest $100 million in the company. I'm gonna give you $100 million in revenue. That was the classic. Classic example.
Totally.
So that's how I started my career in tech, actually, as a biz dev person. And if you look at my LinkedIn profile, it's still there. But it became like this, sort of negative signal on your resume. Those biz dev people running around. And so everybody's doing that now. That is a scary indication that maybe we're hitting, some peak.
So, I mean, would your advice to new entrepreneurs say, ignore the noise, ignore the frothy rounds, retreat to what? Product market fit, programming, AI?
I think, look, ultimately, deliver value. I think it's actually really simple building a startup. It's like you create a value proposition. And then you explain the value proposition to people.
Your pin post.
And then you actually, there's product, there's market, that's basically it. Like, what is my value proposition to who? Like, what do I do for you that's good for you? It can be good for your business, it can be good for your life. And then can I articulate that in a way that causes you to interrupt your life and test it out and verify those claims. And then rinse and repeat. So you can create a value proposition through massive use of technology. You can create it through design. You can create it through the intersection of humans, design, and technology. It doesn't actually matter, but you have to have a very crisp, succinct, compelling value proposition. In business cases, you want to move the P&L of your customers. Like I had an enterprise company, maybe the only true enterprise company I ever funded and joined the board of, where our first customer was Walmart. Everybody's like, no, how's Walmart going to be your first customer? And they spent $5 billion on us. The reason why was we figured out there was one of the top 3 priorities for the company we could address. Our second customer was AT&T, another classic customer. Spent $10 million, or it was a telecom. It wasn't AT&T. It was a different telecom, actually, next. our technology allowed them to understand their churn better. What's the only issue in the telecom business? Churn. Subscriber churn. That's the only thing that matters, and because they all compete on churn.
Somebody else is going to offer. Some,
nobody had a technology that could literally take all their data and actually figure out why people were returning. So if you have the correct value proposition, all the rules are changed. So just dial into the value proposition and then figuring out how to articulate it, which sometimes can be different per my post. Sometimes you have actually marketing fit, and sometimes you actually have your product positioning fit, and sometimes you actually have value proposition fit. Sometimes you start with both, but sometimes you're bad at one and it kind of masks and it is not clear that you're actually really good at the other.
Marketing market fit will mask the lack of product market fit for about a year.
Yeah, the other one's harder. The other one doesn't get masked. It's harder. Sometimes it's hard to fix. Like you may go back to the product and think you don't have a value prop. You actually do. You just can't explain it because you only get a certain amount of attention to explain. You got to distill it. Once you distill it to the right people, then it might take off without changing the product. But that's the art. A true CRO is actually good at this art of triangulation.
How do you, there's been some kind of coalitions, or not really coalitions, but Walmart and Etsy have leaned into LLM commerce. They've partnered with OpenAI. Amazon and eBay have not yet. Shopify has. Who do you think is going to look smart in 2 years for like leaning into these platforms early?
Because I think leaning in to learn. So there's a question: are they leaning in, or are they leaning in to learn? Leaning in to learn is a great idea. Like if you're Shopify, of course. Like, will people use ChatGPT in a way that leads to product discovery and product purchase?
We had a friend of ours has a Shopify brand. They do like $200 million of revenue. He says people that land on his site from ChatGPT convert at 12%.
Incredibly
which is like
high
insanely high.
That I agree with. I'm sure that's true because it's authoritative. The recommendation, the signal, it's better than a blue link. However, the question is the volume and what's the increase in that volume?
Yeah,
like how much of
it's low today.
Yeah, so that's the question: is what does that change and what triggers that change? What catalyzes it? But I mean, we invested in a company called Profound.
They're a sponsor.
They're a sponsor.
Yeah, so they allow you as a brand to track how various, whether it's Gemini, ChatGPT, et cetera, are showcasing your products and brands. And that's critical to the future. But what consumers ultimately decide to do they actually start using ChatGPT to recommend the next tennis shoe to them or not? I think in some verticals, almost surely yes.
I want Christmas data so badly. I feel like this is the first year that we're really going to get an answer, or at least the labs will know. I don't know if we'll figure it out, but about the agentic shopping, just the propensity to.
So let me give you an example of something they can solve. So like think of you're a guy and you want to buy a new blazer. Like I need a blazer so I don't look like ridiculous with you guys.
And you're looking like a nice Christmas sweater.
So I got to figure out what blazer is going to fit me off the rack. I don't have time to get it tailored.
Sure.
Almost an impossible task, like today.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you'd actually, even if you know your fashion, almost an impossible task. Like you might know your brands, you might know it. Right. I can imagine though, ChatGPT kind of knows, what I buy, how it fits, what things I return, what things I don't over time. It just says, Keith, go to Hugo Boss. 38 or 48 or 42 will fit you off the rack. Like that is something that doesn't exist online. And there's a lot of latent demand for consumers not to go to retail. Like the reason I go to retail typically is I either need something immediately or I need to try it on.
Yeah, there's also this interesting thing where ChatGPT and basically every LLM has been only pull in the sense that you have to go and prompt it. It never just sends you a push notification and says, here, they're experimenting with Pulse. So they'll say, okay, we know that you like venture capital news and you like learning about data centers.
I think they deprioritized that.
They have deprioritized it, but I still think that there's a glimmer of something valuable there where they could proactively send you results. It's very compute intensive, and I don't know if they got the form factor right, but there's clearly a glimmer of something.
There's a glimmer there. The question is going to be the quality,
because
right?
that's
ultimately, it'd be totally magical, but I'm going to react to the first 5 they send me and either love it or hate it, and they're not going to get a second shot.
Totally.
So I think that's hard to do in a beta.
No. It's hard, but I think over time, the scale, like all the math and like the actual value, we've seen it work with like some of the Instagram ads where you're like, wow, I didn't even know I wanted that. It's really cool. People are satisfied. I think that will come.
People are also more comfortable sharing data with ChatGPT than any other tech product I've ever seen. So I think like my sizing and things like that, if they allow me, if I put that in memory, it makes it a hell of a lot easier.
So help me square that, because I feel like that's true. I feel like people have these incredibly personal conversations with LLMs. They use them for all these funny things. They're obviously seeing AI search results, and yet AI as a whole feels like the most unpopular technology in decades. And
well, I think it may be a 1% issue too. Like there's a lot of people who are motivated for their own reasons, to cause to create negative feedback on AI.
Well, to be clear, it's also because
people, for example,
5 years ago there was a lot of interviews that happened where they were talking about job loss and just like total.
Well, even Sam made the mistake of talking about UBI. We need UBI. This is a mistake. We need UBI because there's going to be job loss.
Yep.
Well, first of all, there's not going to be job loss, as we were talking about, arguably. But B, highlighting that a decade before any of that happens makes no sense whatsoever. And UBI, by the way, is a terrible solution.
Sure.
So for all those reasons, it created more fear. Yeah. And then the safety hoax people, the people who are always creating hoaxes about, it's literally a hoax. Yeah. Safety is a complete hoax. This is my challenge.
Why?
Name a single person who believes we have an AI safety issue that's been right about any political issue for 50 years. Every single person who's talking about safety has been wrong on the environment, has been wrong on equality and all that nonsense. So I just don't believe any of this because the people are all always finding an excuse for bureaucrats to interfere with progression.
So
progress.
I mean, I hear you. That's just that's kind of sad for our tech community because
as you know, a lot of people in tech though have very sad views.
I suppose, but what I mean is Mark Zuckerberg has dealt with a lot of attacks on social media is bad, right? But at least you got 5 years of people kind of posting Instagrams. People kind of liked social media before they started critiquing it. AI, day one, critique.
Leaning in with the critiques
immediately,
which is critical. There's this old line that's stuck in my brain from when Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House. Yeah. He said, if the electric light had been invented today, it would absolutely be banned because it would have threatened the candle making industry. The safety. It actually was somewhat unsafe. Actually, thousands of people died. But then we never would have allowed electricity. And think about society without electricity.
Yeah, we have a faster feedback loop on fear and actually taking action and then monetizing that fear or one way or another.
And we saw this with nuclear power. To some extent.
If you see an AI video that was generated and it's bad, you're I don't want to lose my job to this thing that I don't like, and so
well, we have to remember people also, there's a bell curve distribution of people's content. Let's take video.
Yeah.
Of all the humans, assume there's no technology. What fraction of human-generated video is great? Or good, even?
Yeah.
It's probably a fairly small fraction.
Yeah. Totally.
But then you see the AI, you're this is terrible. It's slop.
The guy that made this said, I'm going to lose my job and then I'm going to need UBI. Why don't we just stop all of this altogether?
Yeah. It's a little bit like Paul Graham had this epic blog post about, if someone unfortunately meets someone, and sexually assaults them at a grocery store, like Safeway. It's not like a front page news story for the New York Times. This happens all across the country, unfortunately. God forbid, someone meets someone on Instagram in a DM. Front page news story, if something bad, god awful happens. But it's the grocery, versus the new technology. And so you have to always remember that people are going to critique the new technology differently than what the real risk in the real world is. That's actually probably more material.
We have a couple minutes left, and we're here at NYSE. What's your IPO kind of outlook? How are you thinking about 2026? You think a lot
got some good ones coming up for you, hopefully.
Khosla Ventures going out?
No.
Well, I've heard rumors about some other funds.
We are definitely
what are we getting?
I can assure you.
I'm sure you
we are not going to be. We have never had the conversation about whether we should be a public company. We're in the craft business.
IPO rumors swirl.
No, absolutely not. We'll let someone else do that.
Okay, but who else?
But obviously, we've been involved in really good companies. Ramp, your sponsor, obviously is phenomenal. Can be a public company whenever they choose to be. Got Avon, Trade Republic in Europe. Not as many people are paying attention to. Great future company. There's a bunch. So I'm excited about the future.
So there was some news that SpaceX is maybe thinking about going out next year.
I don't have any inside information there. I mean, I read the same thing. I think it would be great. It's 22 years or something.
Long time, and also just a lot of Elon fans have been riding with Tesla for a long time, and that's unlocked a lot of abilities.
They need something new to invest in.
They need something new.
Actually, they took X private. They'll take it back public probably at some point, then you can invest in X.
Take me through what you're advising those portfolio founders, without naming names, but on whether or not, how they should be thinking about timing an IPO. You've obviously been along for the ride on many. What are you counseling them on when to do it?
Well, I'm always a fan of go public as early as possible.
Okay,
yeah. So I wrote a whole chapter in Eli Gill's book, High Growth Handbook, that explains why.
One of the best books the industry.
It's a great book.
Produced.
I have 2 chapters, one about hiring and then one about going public.
Sure.
But my general view is $50 million in revenue plus predictability. You should be a public company.
Wow.
There's so many benefits of being public. So I'm always counseling when you're, as soon as you possibly can, go early, not late.
What about burning money? I feel like there's another bar which says, hey, if you're a public company, you shouldn't need to raise money anymore. Has that changed?
Well, it depends on the company. Some businesses are profitable, like Trade Republic. It wouldn't need to raise money, for example.
Sure.
We actually pay taxes already.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I've actually never had that happen to me. I've never been on the board of a company that's actually paying taxes. Because to pay corporate taxes, you actually have to offset all your losses and profit. So like we're such a great company.
Yeah, you burn through all your carry forwards and you're done.
Exactly.
Wow. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else we should talk about?
No, this was super fun.
Thank you. We really appreciate you coming down.
Wait, why New York? Why are you here? Well, is it the ramp mafia? You want to make sure you pick off all So
we actually looked at my geographic investments. I mentioned AI is 2/3, 3/4.
Yeah.
New York is the number one geo, has been the number one geo for me for 5 or 6 years. Okay. It's about 60% of all my investments. Application layer stuff, financial services, like Imprint, Ramp, a lot of great companies. Basis, accounting AI, Rogo, investment banking AI, Traba is here, Ramp. They've got a great set of companies here. So, and then it's better for me to be on the East Coast for like personal reasons.
Yeah, of course. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come down. This is fantastic.
Good to see you.
I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Great. Thanks for the invite.
Have a good rest of your day. I'm going to tell you about Numeral. Compliance handled. I think I already told you about Numeral, so I'm going to tell you about Figma.
Again.
Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. And our next guest is Lynn Martin, the president of the New York Stock Exchange.
While we wait, Dan Soroker's company Limitless has been acquired by Meta.
Ooh, congratulations to him.
There's a video here that we cannot play, but Meta acquires AI wearable startup Limitless.
Ooh, we were really talking about, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity in the AI wearables space. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, and like it just feels like fertile playground. I feel like it'd be a fun time to be a hardware hacker. We talked about that transcription piece of hardware that's making $250 million out of nowhere. Very interesting companies. There's obviously cool things to do. A lot of the attention goes to the Rabbit R1, the Friend pin, the Humane AI pin, but there's cool stuff happening all over the industry. And so, it's a voice recorder.
Again, voice recorder. They had a hardware device.
Amazing.
Notable that, Limitless I don't think was able to crack like real growth with the hardware, but that company Plod has so. But again, this is a great outcome for them. I'm sure the whole Limitless team is pumped.
And let me tell you about Privy. Privy makes it easy to build on crypto rails, securely expand white label wallets, sign transactions, and integrate on-chain infrastructure all through one simple API. What else is going on in the timeline, Jordy?
Let's see here. I mentioned this briefly in the conversation with Keith, but apparently OpenAI must turn over 20 million chat logs to plaintiffs. Judge Ona Wang has ruled.
You have to send an email to a server that adds a ChatGPT response in with your lawyer CC'd. That's how you maintain confidentiality.
Harvey, who Keith also mentioned, raised $160 million at an $8 billion valuation.
This is why Keith was talking about
2% dilution round from A16Z. They had 3x revenue this year to $150 million. They raised $300 million from Sequoia at $3 billion in January, $300 million at $5 billion from Coatue and KP in June, and then $160 at $8 from A16Z. Shout out to Spencer and the boys at Coatue for a little markup there.
And I feel like law firms have got to be pretty discerning on making this purchase decision at this point. Like it's not entirely exploratory budget anymore, and it's not viral like something that's like it's like a flash in the pan, and then all of a sudden like they're not going to be able to monetize.
Yeah, my question is like, do you like if anybody that wants to say like, oh, this is like out of control. It's like, do you think they'll be able to get to like $1 billion of revenue?
Legal industry is pretty big, and it's been traditionally pretty hard.
And they actually, so the labor displacement thing does feel real here, because I do think a law firm would say, hey, currently we have 100 associates. We can condense that down to about 20 and do the same amount of work by working with something like Harvey. And again, the vibe had at least. With a lawyer buddy of mine, had shifted drastically with Harvey a year ago. He was saying, we're like using it a little bit now. He's like, it's one-shotting stuff that I didn't think it would.
It says, I'm one-shotted actually by it.
I'm one shot.
One shot your data analysis with Julius AI, the AI data analyst that works for you. Join millions who use Julius to connect their data, ask questions.
We should have gotten Rahul here. We should have told him to come here and be in the Capitol with us.
We'll do that soon.
YC has a new company called The Hog.
Oh, wait, really?
It's called the Palantir for go-to-market. We were just talking about.
We were talking about swine-themed startup names. You have Pig. You have...
Apparently carried no interest. Watched their launch video twice. I evaluate software businesses for a living. Still no idea what Hog does.
Good to see you.
What's happening? Great to see you.
Good to see you.
I like how you're breaking up the green situation.
Oh, yes.
A green sandwich.
But it is, yesterday we were greeted by a number of folks into your team. Everyone was dressed to the nines.
Yeah. It was tree
absolutely
lighting.
Festive and fantastic. It was the tree lighting, right?
Yes, it was.
So this is every year. Walk us through exactly what happened. There were mascots, there were celebrities, everything.
There were singing.
Oh, I've seen the tree outside. It's massive.
CFOs, celebrities, mascots, charitable organizations. All celebrating the holiday season. We had about 10,000 people.
10,000? We heard.
No, it was crazy because we walked in yesterday. It felt like there was an IPO going on.
It felt like an IPO.
Yeah.
It felt like Santa was IPOing. And then today, it was
a little bit quiet. We were like, oh, okay, actually, this is a huge event. So
Hank Azaria actually made a joke that he was IPOing yesterday. He was one of the celebrities. He did a spot.
That was great.
But, it's a great opportunity for our listed companies to get some visibility, particularly the consumer. Focus brands. There were about 30 different tents outlining Wall Street. Cool. It celebrates the downtown community. It's a great opportunity to generate business and give a bit back.
What other big events like tree lighting that are kind of off of, like things that you can count on happening every year?
Yeah.
What's on the calendar regularly at the New York Stock Exchange?
We do a lot around the...
Is there like a 4th of July?
We do a lot, 4th of July, Memorial Day, those types of holidays to celebrate Veterans Day, to celebrate our military. Anytime there's something to celebrate our military and people who have served this great country. Yeah. It's all about giving back and highlighting what makes this country great. Yeah. Obviously, one of the things that makes this country great is our phenomenal capital markets.
Yes.
And it's really a unique differentiator.
Yes.
There you go. Love that. But then also our military, the people who selflessly protect us every single day. And then the not-for-profit, the charitable organizations who so many of our listed companies support. As part of the tree lighting, we highlight the charitable organizations that our listed companies support. And this year we have 400 of our listed companies that have contributed to that program. So all throughout the season, we like to highlight that. People who have done good things, but also are paying it forward.
Yeah, and we heard that in 10 years, there has never been an IPO that landed exactly on the tree lighting.
No, but some of it's close. Some have come close. Some have come close.
What's the latest in December that you remember an actual IPO happening?
The week before Christmas.
That's
I think Nubank.
Yeah. Oh, no way.
Yeah, Nubank in 2021 was a pretty late IPO. I don't remember if it was the 19th or the 20th of December.
Oh, that's late. That's basically that.
A ton of that.
Well, and that's the.
I'm not kidding.
That's basically the last day that I think the e-commerce brands can you can place an order and still get the product. That's kind of like the last day of business. Yeah.
Basically. Exactly. Yeah. The rush.
Right. Yeah. What is the holiday season? When is the stock exchange dark? How much time?
We're not really ever dark. If I look at the calendar for the next couple of weeks, for example, we have a ton of ETFs going out, which is actually not received as much coverage as the IPOs of operating companies.
Yeah,
what does that process look like from even roadshow stage all the way to listing?
That one's a little bit different because you can just launch the ETF and then accumulate AUM.
I know, but is there any I'm assuming you're building. Well, I'm assuming you're trying to build attention going into the process.
A lot of times you're also spending the time looking at the index you're benchmarking against and back testing the results and then going out to
and
out to the
continually
people
saying.
who are going to contribute the
Yeah.
AUM and show them
Yeah.
the performance of
Yeah.
the ETF and how it would have performed under stress periods
Sure. and
different macroeconomic events.
What trends are you seeing in some of these net new ETFs?
Crypto ETFs have been a big unlock for that industry.
Yeah.
You're seeing just a continuation of the various types of ETFs, equities, fixed income as well. Fixed income has also been a big unlock.
Yeah.
ETFs have been probably one of the greatest financial innovations of our lifetimes, my lifetime in particular, where it allow someone to invest in an incredibly liquid vehicle that has incredibly illiquid constituent baskets. So if I think of like the fixed income markets, which is where I came from, like the muni ETFs, they've been able to accumulate a good amount of assets. Crypto has been another unlock.
Some folks have been on our show talking about the future of putting graphics cards in an ETF or getting AI compute or data centers and giving folks more access to that. I know some of the private credit funds, we had John Zito on the show yesterday from Apollo, but some of the other funds have taken different funds and IPO'd them separately so that they get more direct access. And I would expect to see more of that, but I don't know what you're saying.
I mean, there's been a fair amount of folks who have talked about private instruments and putting them in an ETF wrapper. I know Vlad's talked about that from Robinhood quite a bit. That he's looking at that as an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, there's been insatiable demand for private company stock all in Silicon Valley, but it's usually done through angel investing, never really through an ETF. But it seems structure and how you disclose information and whatnot, and make sure that you're in a good basket of assets.
And do you actually have a voting share in the underlying basket? There's a lot more logistics to work out in that, but in general, ETFs are going to add a layer of transparency that a lot of these illiquid assets don't have, because they're marked to market every day. They have NAV at the end of the day. The fund has
There's been some other experiments with trying to bring private shares into the public markets that aren't that end up trading 3-4 times NAV, and then they end up being the underlying assets can be high quality, but if you're buying them at 4x or something like that, the actual valuation is you're just essentially lighting money on fire. 2026, everybody's super excited. We just talked to Keith.
It's going to be a big year.
It's going to be a big year.
It's going to be a big year.
I think so.
The year was going really, really well, and then you had various events such as Liberation Day in the beginning of the year that sort of shut the window, the IPO window, but obviously it reopened. So
we were here.
How we met you guys, here we are. And then the government shutdown temporarily closed the market as well. So a variety of our deals have now pushed into January. But January, it's going to be a busy January. It's going to be a really busy Q1. And now it feels like momentum, because that narrative is out there and these deals are going to go early in the new year. Momentum's truly building for the rest of 2026. But you got to remember, you got midterms at the end of 26.
Oh, yeah.
How have midterms historically impacted just whether or not it's kind of the window's open or closed?
Probably for a couple weeks before, the window will be shut for a bit of time, because people are going to, they're going to be, they're not going to want to go when there's potential volatility in the market. And anytime you have a large group of elections or a monumental election like the election for a president, you're not going to want to go just before, because you just don't know what's going to happen around that election period.
Yep, that makes a ton of sense.
Well, we just want to say thank you for welcoming us.
I am so psyched to have you guys
here. I mean, look at this. It's
love being here.
It's still surreal. And thank you for letting us this be our home on the East Coast. It's
our
no better.
home is your home.
We literally could not have picked a better place.
Your interview yesterday with Kramer.
It was so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
We came in
off
pulling
the charts. Off the charts.
He tweeted in the morning. He was like, "It could be fun. It could be wild.
Could be wild."
And
we didn't know, and we got
it was
wild.
all the above. But,
but it was amazing.
He's just.
We talked about the market, but we also just talked about interviewing, building relationship with CEOs over decades, and it just laid a groundwork. I remember we watched his interview with Tim Cook 15 years ago, a decade ago,
and
watch how he built that relationship. Really remarkable work. And a lot of it happened in this building. A lot of it happened right down there.
Right down there. Well, we're looking forward to eventually joining him on his show, and I just hope we can bring the same level of energy that he has.
You can bring your gong and your panel alongside his panel, and I can't wait to see who's louder on that day.
We gotta hit.
We gotta hit the gong for the partnership. Proper gong hit for the partnership. I will hold this up.
This is for you.
The official gong hitting. Go! There we go.
Now that's a gong.
That's a gong. That's a gong. We're gonna leave these here for you. So if you're ever you need a boost of energy,
Totally do.
Food, coffee.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Safe home.
We appreciate you.
We will be back soon.
We are going
Can't
to
wait
tell
for
you
January.
about Cognition.
We will.
The team behind the AI software engineer, Devin. Crush your backlog with your personal AI engineering team. And I'm also going to tell you about Gemini 3 Pro, Google's most intelligent model yet, state-of-the-art reasoning, next-level vibe coding, and deep multimodal integrations. What else is in the timeline? We, of course, have Emily Sundberg from Feed Me joining in just a second. We're very excited to have her on the show. But is there anything else in the timeline that we should run through before we bring in Emily from Feed Me?
Chrome Hearts.
Chrome Hearts.
Acquired one of my favorite hotels.
Wait,
the
is
Surfrider.
It a clothing brand?
The Surfrider.
Oh, they did.
So I think it was the family,
there.
the Starks, the owners.
Yeah.
We've been there. Dylan will stay there sometimes when he's in LA.
Yeah.
They acquired, one of my favorite hotels. I used to stay there a lot, and then I moved like right near it, and so now I don't have any reason to stay there, unfortunately. But interesting pickup. It's an iconic hotel. They paid more than $1.8 million per room, which puts it among Southern California's priciest hotel deals in years. It's just 20 rooms, and so it had been owned by, I know the guy who created the hotel. It was basically an impossible task to like redevelop this, like basically it was an old motel that was kind of crumbling. He redeveloped it, made it beautiful. Many people said it couldn't be done just because of the Coastal Commission and just how hard it is to like do any type of like development work in Malibu. He did it, sold it to private equity. I think this is it trading hands again. But I'm excited to see what they do with it. They've just been in Malibu for so long and have a great presence there. So
it's a beautiful hotel. I love it. And it's fun that it's Chrome Hearts now. Before we move on, let me tell you about Fall, the generative media app platform for developers. Develop and fine-tune models with serverless GPUs and on-demand clusters.
Shout out to Jim O'Shaughnessy.
This is hilarious.
He says, when I say I love Bach, I really mean it. He listened to 64,000 minutes of Bach last year, which puts him in the 0.001% of global fan.
He's just on repeat. It's like no Mozart. I don't even drift away. I'm loyal. I'm riding with Bach 24/7. How many minutes are in a year? Can you actually look that up? 60 times 24 times 365. 60 times 24 times 365. He was listening. Okay. So there's 525,000 minutes in a year, I think, if I got that right.
Yep.
And so he was listening for 60,000 minutes. 60,000 minutes. So more than 10% of his time. So that's more than 2 hours every day. This guy's listening to just Bach.
He's an absolute dog.
This is the craziest thing. What happened?
I mean, I feel I didn't even. I think I was like top 2% fan on my most played artist or something like that.
No,
like
I didn't even crack the top
1%. He's the 0.001%.
This is hilarious. Okay, we're good. Well, let's bring in Emily Sundberg, and let's also tell you about GetBezel.com. Shop over 26,500 luxury
watches. Great to see you.
Fully authenticated.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi,
welcome
good
to NYSE.
See you
Good to see you.
I'm not saying welcome.
New York.
Yeah, good to have you here.
How's it going?
It's going great. Last night we were at an event, and the interviewer was asking us a bunch of questions about the business and stuff, but one of the questions that it didn't faze me at the time, but then I talked about it with someone later, and I'll give you the question, and I want to see how you interpret it. It was, if you are on a desert island, you're stranded on a desert island, what are 3 Twitter accounts that you would follow?
Oh.
Maybe do that for Substack.
Yeah.
3 Substack accounts.
You can do
follow.
anything. I wound up listing a Substack as well.
It was just technology analyst.
Yeah,
John's just on a desert island, just like reading
I
Ben
think
Thompson
I would need
and semi
New York
analysis.
Times.
New York Times,
for
okay.
Twitter.
Okay.
Need Joe Weisenthal. For,
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
the
You definitely need Joe Weisenthal.
Need
Yes.
him.
Yes.
And then a third, probably like a Frank O'Hara bot or something that just like automatically gives me some poetry.
So you answered the question exactly how I answered the question, and then someone came up to me after and was like, "No, like if you're stranded, you need to be you need to be following like alert services or like the Coast Guard or
the
like
New York Times. Oh, right,
you know, like,
right,
like a pilot, like someone with a plane.
But also
don't stop
wires.
analyzing technology.
Yeah.
You're just
Stop.
you're waving the Joe Weisenthal post.
Yeah.
at the sky.
You're like, what is Joe Weisenthal going to do to get you off that island?
Joe would figure
He's
it
not going to
out.
help you.
Joe would figure it
He
out.
would know that I was missing though, and
need
have like
to-
task force.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
And you want to know that he's coming for you.
Yeah, he would give me the update.
Okay, speaking of Joe Weisenthal, he recently made an appearance on your new podcast,
He did.
Expense Account.
Right.
And he had a take that I thought crossed journalistic lines. I thought
Let's hear it.
He said that Malaysia has the best food in the world.
Have you been?
No,
So how would you know?
because I'm from America and I know America has the best food in the world.
I went to a birthday party at
Yeah.
a Malaysian bar last night.
Okay, was it the best food?
It was great.
Is Malaysian food actually that good?
What
Do you
is
know?
Malaysian food?
It's
Name
like
every
spicy,
meal.
green. It's do you like spice?
Yeah, I like spice. I'm just saying that like Malaysia has one type of food.
It's delicious. You should
They
go
have
all
beef,
over
they have
there.
beef saute.
I
a lot
love
of
beef
beef.
saute. I love beef.
Yeah,
I love beef saute.
and then like sauces
But in
and
America,
greens.
we have pizza. We have McDonald's. We have the Doritos Locos Taco.
Do you have pizza in LA?
No, but in New York, which is again in America, he was saying on a country by country basis.
But
we
if
have
you're in
Las
New York, you
Vegas.
can make
we have San
swings like
Francisco.
that.
We have French Laundry. We have all sorts of
Have
restaurants.
you guys had any great dinners while you've been here?
We had a pretty good dinner last night.
Where did we go to?
We went to a steakhouse. It was delicious.
Which one?
I don't know.
Hawks something.
We went
Oh
somewhere.
yeah.
But I just think that the variety that you get, like, I will give Joe Weisenthal. I've never been, but let's give him Malaysia as an A+. It's an A+.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then America has got to be B+ in steak and B+ in French and B+ in sushi and B+ in Italian and all the different genres
Malaysian
of
food's
cuisines.
awesome. I
And you
really
add all
stand by
that up.
that.
Okay, you're defending.
But I
you're
think what
defending
he
your
was
guest.
really probably saying was like like probably one or two specific great Malaysian places in New York, because he has his spots.
No, he was talking about going to Malaysia physically and saying that being in Malaysia, that's the best food in the world.
Yeah.
We went to Hawksmoor.
We went to
Yeah.
Hawks. Okay.
It was
Heard
good.
of it.
It was
good,
good.
it was good.
You're not.
I mean, I haven't been yet, but
Okay,
I'll make a trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how is Expense Account going as a new podcast? Are you excited about it?
It's
How are you
great.
working
It's
on it?
a blast. You know, it started, Jason, my
Yeah.
restaurant columnist, he started writing a column for me a little bit over a year ago called Expense Account.
Yeah.
And it's sort of about like business guy restaurants,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
places
yeah.
where somebody slams the card down.
Yes.
And it was a great column, and I was reading one of them. He joked about having a podcast,
Yeah.
and I called him, and I was like, "Are you making a show with someone else?" And he said he wasn't.
Yeah.
But then I said, "Do you want a show?"
Yeah.
And we made it, and Substack and Silver Oak Wines
Oh, no way.
sponsored season 1.
That's a great sponsor.
Yeah, they're great.
That's
the
amazing.
The 1-2 Substack Silver Oak.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I like
Wait,
that.
Substack sponsored.
They're the presenting sponsor of season 1.
Very
great.
cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
love Substack.
Yeah, what I liked about it was the fact that I am not really a foodie, as you can tell from
You
my.
guys say that, but you've been having more culinary conversations.
Yes, but my example of good food
We
in
had
America
David-
was the Doritos Locos Taco.
Great.
Like, that's
Or
my
Baja
level.
Blast. It's a
The
fantastic drink.
I like a Baja Blast. I like a Diet Coke. I like a Red Bull.
Same. We're on
You
the
know?
same page.
So I was worried that I was going to open up the RSS feed and see a bunch of names that I didn't recognize. And when I
Right.
saw Joe Weisenthal, I was like, I'm in.
And he has
I'm in.
great takes on food.
Yes, and it was great because
he's one
I'm-
of New York's best food reporters.
I'm used to him in one context, talking about the markets,
Right.
about what's happening with the latest news in the Fed,
Trade.
talking to founders, talking to
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, CEOs. It was really cool to see just a different side of him. So
Yeah.
I think if you can keep doing that, like I'm hooked.
That's the idea.
Yes, and I think a lot of people will jump. And honestly, a lot of people should be trying to get on the show because it shows them a different side of them. And I don't know, it just seems like it's a recipe for success.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about the West Coast expansion? You're
I
looking
need your
west.
advice here.
Yeah.
So I found out Substack is very limited analytics. They're great for other reasons, but in terms of like the demographics of my readers,
Sure.
it's limited. But I do know that about 20% of my readers live in California.
Yeah.
It feels like a loss to not. It feels like a miss to not do some sort of California product. When I was there on my last trip, everybody was saying like, we want something. Like we read Feed Me religiously, but we want something in California. So I decided next year I'm just going to go out there more, like there as a state.
Sure.
And I think it will probably start as like a monthly letter, but all of these readers of mine, they like have tips for me. They have stories they want to tell. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to focus it, but I was putting together like a small newsroom or thinking about people to help me with it, and then I realized I can just go and do it. I think that's what people want.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to San Francisco at the end of January.
Great.
I asked my Twitter followers
we need
where to
we need a
stay.
prediction market on how long you're going to actually stay in SF.
Right now it's 3 nights.
Okay, you were making it sound like it was going to be like 3
sounded like you
weeks.
were moving
No,
I'm gonna be
no,
on
3
the
nights.
ground.
It could. I mean, maybe I'll never leave.
Yeah. You're going in January, not for January.
In January.
Yes,
My
yes,
husband
yes.
would not want me to go for that long.
That'd
I
be
don't think
insane.
he would miss me.
Yeah.
And my readers would miss me in New York.
Of course.
But I'm not sure where to start. But my Twitter community of my like reply people in SF have been very welcoming and generous, and have invited me to a few
My reply people.
dinner parties and bars.
Yeah.
You'll probably leave with a scout fund.
I'm looking for like some hidden doors.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that sounds like sort of restaurant focused, but other cultural touch
All
points you
kinds
might...
of establishments have doors.
Okay.
Go to
yeah.
Sand Hill Road and just start trying doors like against the side of some of the
Yeah, I
buildings.
think the Feed Me report on the Rosewood Bar on a Thursday night would really go.
That would go
perfectly.
great.
I think that'd be a great piece.
Definitely go on
I'll be there on
Thursday.
Definitely on
Thursday. I'll do
Thursday
that on a Thursday night. But there's a lot that I don't understand. I mean, the only other time I went to SF was for WWDC. Thank you, Apple, for bringing me
cool.
earlier this year. Got a selfie with Tim Cook.
Yeah, but Cupertino is a very different environment than San Francisco.
Then I spent
know
a
you
few
probably spent
nights
some times,
in a
but it's its
neighborhood
own.
called.
Yeah.
What's the neighborhood that you don't? That not everyone always likes to
The
say.
Tenderloin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I lived there. That's rough.
Really?
Yeah.
We walked through there at night after dinner.
Yeah, but
a while
I mean,
back.
the
was
Twitter
fine.
headquarters for a while were there.
It wasn't
Yeah.
fine when we were walking through.
Yeah.
I had John as kind
Any
of like
plans
security. It was
to
nice.
take a trip to the Hamptons of San Francisco?
Which is
Tahoe?
Tahoe.
I would say Tahoe, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not Martha's Vineyard. What's the Martha's Vineyard of San Francisco? I don't know.
I said Marin.
Marin,
Yeah. Wine country.
But I think Tahoe is more of the Hamptons. Because when I think of like the Hamptons I think like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4
Is that
hours.
skiing?
Yeah, you can ski, you can boat,
But you can,
do a bunch
like-
of different
Do you guys
things.
ski?
Yes.
Occasionally. I'm
Okay.
not super into it, but
Alright.
it's fine.
Yeah, I'll go Tahoe.
We're into the track right now. We're very much in a race car phase, less of the skiing phase. The most recent experience of being on the track just completely reset my expectations for what's possible with a recreational sport.
Yeah.
So, find me in thermal, not
And
Jackson Hole.
you're getting ad deal ideas also from F1. Right?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Always.
love F1.
Always.
It's the best.
yeah.
Back to Substack.
Yeah.
Jack Conte at Patreon is trying to poach Substack writers.
Yes.
What do you think he's thinking? What do you think he needs to do? How do you think about the positioning of Substack versus Patreon? Just like from a vibe and cultural perspective, maybe first. Like how do you interpret like a Substack creator versus hi, I'm a Patreon creator?
Yeah, I
What does that
think
mean?
the medium is like you think Patreon, you think news, or you
I
think
think
Patreon, you think
podcast.
podcast,
I think
Substack,
one-on-one model,
you think
the
newsletter,
Red Scare
right?
model, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Otherworld, my favorite podcast,
Oh
Otherworld.
yeah, Jack. Yeah, from he was originally
Tamagotchi, Versace, whatever.
Yes,
on
yes,
Instagram.
yes.
Yeah, he rocks. I think if they keep him,
He
that's
was
a good
with
first step.
Brandon Wardell
Yeah.
on that show. Yeah,
I love
fantastic.
Otherworld.
It's amazing.
I listen to.
I've never
Spooky
listened to a
Are you
stories.
into
podcast on
the
Patreon.
paranormal?
Yeah.
Like
Am
little-
I?
I'm not into it,
No.
but-
I've never watched a full horror movie.
Yeah,
and I'm not into any of that stuff.
You're not into that.
He just turns into a ghost. He's too afraid.
Yeah.
You're missing out. It's a world of wonder
You're a
and
scaredy
mystery.
cat. That's what
I'm a scaredy cat.
a scaredy cat.
Okay, I think if they keep them, they keep some of the big hitters like Red Scare, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what both of these platforms are doing wrong is when they try to do like the sports team trade thing. And I was feeling a bit of FOMO
It's
for
like,
a
why
while.
not go try get new people on your platform?
Incubate.
Don't try and if you're
creators,
Patreon.
Yes,
if you're
exactly.
Patreon, don't go poach from Substack.
Yeah.
Go find someone who's working in legacy media, way underpaid relative to the value they create.
Right.
Have them come over and do their new thing. And that was the lineage of some of the early Substack deals. Was we'll help you get set up. We'll give you enough money that you can pay for healthcare, pay for the first thing, and then get your business up and running.
Right. I was feeling a lot of FOMO that I wasn't getting the email from the Patreon team saying, "Come over here, we'll give you a big check." And then I got one the other day, and it had the term. I haven't responded yet.
Poached.
Whatever
Be a trading card. Attempted poaching happening.
You're way too loyal. I genuinely think I feel like your audience would have a mutiny. They would be like,
it wouldn't work.
I think you're Substack coded. That's the thing. I think you're a Substack writer.
But also when you see certain terms like we're rolling out new features that we want to tell you, that roll is like a slow thing. It's not like we're launching this. The email kind of just fuzzed out after that, and then he followed up, or they. I won't out who emailed me, but
this is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
But I think like it's okay for Substack to be a newsletter platform, and it's okay for Patreon to be a podcast platform, and I'm very curious to see what an email CMS on Patreon even looks like.
Do you have Netflix?
Do I have Netflix?
Yeah.
Sure do.
Are you like logged? Because I pay for it, but I'm not logged into my phone. Like I'm not like a regular watcher.
Phone.
Yeah. Have you ever watched it?
Like watching on the plane?
Yeah, on the plane.
No.
I won't do that.
No.
I don't do that.
Apple TV, baby.
Okay, there you go. So, but do you think you'd ever watch a podcast on Netflix? You've seen that they're doing this?
Yes.
They're starting to buy podcasts and put them on Netflix?
Yes.
more like distribute them.
Yes.
Distribute them. They got the Ringer.
I would not, but these kids are really watching a lot of podcasts.
They're into podcasts on TVs, on the wall.
Wherever
Throw
they can
it on
get
for
them.
a couple
I
hours.
might have just messed up my mic.
I think you're okay.
Wall podcasts.
Yeah, they're all watching podcasts. Like, people are watching Expense Account as much as listening to it.
And do you think they're also watching it on like smart TVs, basically? Like they throw it on the TV, the way they might throw on, reality TV show or a movie or
with
the
all
news.
the like working from home.
Okay, it's the close.
Another
working
week.
from home here. They're closing the
they're
stock
out
exchange. Who is it? It's Wells Fargo.
We got one tower still up here, guys. We got one tower.
Shout out to Wells Fargo.
Look, John, we're holding on. We're holding on to one column.
We got one cube left over there. That one. So, there we go. Welcome to Investment Management. They cut to the close. We're here live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Let's give it up for Wells Fargo.
Yes.
Wow, she is going for
That
it.
was great.
Maybe future Feed Me sponsor there. Who knows?
Who knows?
Possible. Anyway, you were saying people watching Netflix shows at
I think more and more people are sort of using their TVs as like that always-on thing in the office, but in their house. So it's like like the Harry Potter moving picture frame almost. It's just the TV is on, the podcast is on while they're doing whatever else they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Holiday gifting.
Yes.
Do gift guides matter in a world where you can tell the LLM describe the person and say generate a gift guide at every possible price point all the way through?
Did you guys see the gift guide that I wrote about that Evercore sent out to everyone? It's like what to buy. I think last year
So you wrote it for Evercore?
No. Somebody at Evercore sends it to the
Because I feel like
team.
that's a premier
It's
product.
great. I'll forward it to you guys. I looked up the person who makes it. They've been doing it for many years.
Cool.
Last year it was like what to buy the women in your life, and this year they changed the subject to what to buy the people in your life. But it's like luxury items
This
for
sounds amazing.
clueless men.
Love it.
Yeah, so I like the idea of sort of like this word of mouth kind of gift guide. It becomes a little bit more secret.
Sure.
Substack has become a storm of gift guides this time of year. And it's a lot of clothes. I didn't realize that that's what people want so much. What are you guys going to make a gift guide?
Yeah, but we're going to strict no clothes, more hardware, more like what track card to buy.
Are you going to get some affiliate
what plane
from that?
to buy.
No. We don't.
Not yet.
No
just
Shop
Love of the
My.
game. Love of the game.
Oh yeah,
Nice,
Shop
nice.
My. We got to have the Shop My
Is
founders
Gulfstream
on.
on Shop My?
Yeah.
If they get on Shop
we should get
My,
them
I think
on.
They
we
have
could
a
do that.
lot on there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they get Ferrari Challenge cars on there,
Shop My,
that will
call
be our,
them.
that will be our
Word of the
our
year.
go-to.
Word of the year.
DB needs a word of the year. Every publication has a word of the year. The Economist has a word of the year.
Do
The
you?
Economist's word
We do.
of the
We
year.
haven't disclosed it yet.
The Economist's word of the year is slop.
Right, I saw that.
And that feels like appropriate, but also potentially could have been last year's word of the year. We were talking about slop as a term that was sort of, I think you called the top on slop in February.
Yeah.
But, so it really
but
was
still
an
became
important
it
word,
became
and
the
I
word
think-
of the year.
I think the Economist did a good job picking
and then
that.
and then Oxford had rage bait.
Wait, oh yeah, they did. Rage bait.
That's 2 words.
I know.
It's like
I
a
know.
term of the year.
Yeah, one word put together, I guess. A compound word.
I want to say our word so much, but we need to introduce it in the right way. You can.
Have you been hearing everybody saying flow state now? That's like
That's-
very
that's-
hot over the
I like
last
flow
2
state.
weeks.
I like
No,
flow
but
state
that's
because
like
it's less
such an
controversial.
old. I feel like that's like a 2018 era.
Rage
Yeah,
bait
but
is
slop
too,
is
though.
negative,
Yeah.
rage bait's negative, flow
Flow
state's
state,
positive.
yeah, we're moving.
Our
we're
word
moving
is
into
positive.
I remember when I was like
You
in
wanna see
college.
that.
When I was in college, listening to like Tim Ferriss, he was always trying to get in flow state. I was
Flow
like,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was like,
say
what
like Wiz Khalifa.
Oh,
So he's trying to get in
The
flow
flow
state
state.
now.
Flow state's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would encourage you to drop Feed Me's word of the year.
Okay.
I think you should think about it.
I've been thinking
It's a
of
good
doing
exercise.
some sort of list at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna do a Men of the Year thing after GQ did theirs and left you off.
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Well,
Crazy.
didn't they give it to Sydney Sweeney instead?
Yes.
She was at the event. It's funny you
Did
said
you get the invite?
there was another.
No, we didn't even get the invite.
No, there was another.
You guys would be at my Men of the Year party.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
I'm glad
that.
we'd make the list.
What do you have?
Are you having a holiday party?
No, we've really like dropped the ball on events like since the event we did.
Yeah, without
hard
your
without me,
help,
yeah.
it's impossible.
Do you?
You
did
knew
guys,
with our
They were
event, we were
asking
like,
us
we're doing an
about
event. We picked it like a rough time and then
Yeah.
did nothing else until the day of, but you pulled it off. So.
Did you? It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever go into any like 2016 awesome SF World holiday parties? Like I feel like the budgets have kind of vanished and things have changed.
Vanished? What do you mean?
Holiday
be
parties
bigger than
don't really
ever.
feel the same.
Wait, how so?
Maybe I'm talking about the media ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, so that does make sense. Like
Because
the
in
biggest,
tech, there's
the
more
biggest.
money than ever, and so
Yeah, so like
Right.
we're like the next 2 weeks,
Like-
like basically the holiday parties have begun.
Yeah.
Tech has obviously like taken they saw the media companies with their big holiday parties and
Right.
they said like that's actually our money, like we're gonna take that.
Right.
And now, but I was wondering how you would handle room blocks for as like Feed Me if you were gonna put on a big event. How would you handle room blocks? Because there's been a big
hotel
kind of more.
recommendations.
Well, you have a very big team.
Yes.
So you're saying how do we transport the team if something was happening in New York?
Yeah. So
Well,
you
we
would
travel
recommend
light. We
sleeping
travel
in
light.
bunk
There was just
beds,
four
right?
of us. There was 4 of us.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 2 questions here. One, who has to put up that many people like in a different city?
Like if a
we
media
do.
company is doing if they're doing I'm somewhat doing a bit.
I think you guys need to open a New York office.
We should. Well,
Yeah.
this is our New York office.
Right.
We're partnering with the New York Stock Exchange
booth.
now.
But I'm just saying, if you
Yeah.
were doing an event in New York and you were inviting people and you were
Yeah.
like, I'm going to pay for your accommodation because you're speaking at my event, what hotel would you
No,
choose?
we need a high-low strategy. We need
Yeah, high-low strategy.
What we need is a sleeping bag on the floor of this booth. When we come to New York,
Yeah.
we crash in the booth and we're like, we are grinding harder than anyone in Manhattan.
Or like a Vice warehouse strategy.
That'd be good,
or
too.
do you guys know the media company in DC, Punch Bowl? Like they
Yes.
own a
oh,
brownstone.
yeah, that's cool.
No way.
Ooh.
They just bought a
their
house.
office is there.
That's awesome.
And I'm sure someone has slept there before.
very
But you
cool.
might need to,
Yeah.
Look, check out like the real estate.
Where would Punchbowl go on my media map, which was 100%
I mentioned them that day, and they didn't make
accurate?
the map, and I think I got a text
We still are getting notes from people saying like you didn't put me on.
We did this Axios event last night.
People thought that was like the Magna Carta. It was like
it was thrown together. It was so crazy.
it did have like some texture.
It was so crazy because Tyler put it together. We like glanced at it. We're like, oh, it looks pretty funny. And then we're like, all right, we'll have Emily basically to be the heat shield and put this out to the world. So
yeah, that was great. And then people tried to make their own, and it didn't hit the same, obviously.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that these formats, they when they hit really well, and they're very shareable.
Yeah.
I would say that stuff can get overdone, but I would be excited to read the Feed Me holiday gift guide. Also, just the recap of the top 10 moments from the year.
Yeah.
Pieces that I might not have read, or snippets that I missed.
Yeah.
Things like that, like the scoops that you've gotten, or interviews, things you learned.
I have a question for you
Predictions
guys.
for next year. All of this stuff, like the formats are they're played out, but they work still. They work, and it's just a good way to enjoy information. I like seeing a market on a map.
Yes.
I like seeing a list of top things, whether it's people or companies. Like people like ranking lists. And stuff,
it's very easy to digest.
Yeah, you need a little bit of heat shield, but
can I ask you guys a quick question?
Yeah.
I was at Dealbook this year, and Andrew interviewed Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And he was playing the videos that he made 10 years ago with like camcorders, like early stuff. That video that went viral this week, me in 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, are you guys... I got like a pang of regret that I'm not capturing more like how I built this style stuff. Are you guys capturing that as well? Like, are you guys getting behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, we have a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. We've seen it.
The thing is, we put our entire studio on the stream.
Right.
And so, like, it's in some ways like you get a behind the scenes look every episode.
But more like back of the car on the way home, like.
There's
Ben gets some of that stuff.
Okay.
Ben brought a camcorder.
We're not crazy about it because, like you could tell, like if you were trying to just make the documentary about, we actually thought it would be hilarious to make a 2-hour documentary about TBPN and release it in 1 year, like and just because you could just put a documentary on Amazon Prime if you want.
Yeah.
But you could tell the story through the show pretty effectively, and we have ISOs for everything, and we often have meta conversations like this one about the show on the show. And so right here we're talking about the decision to put. To do behind the scenes, there aren't that many discussions that we're like, oh, we should have captured that off camera. Maybe there's a little bit more where we should be doing stuff. I think that the lower hanging fruit for us is just. I
think you should become one of those live streamers that just spends all day long walking around and being like, yo, no, Emily, all around New York, you just have somebody following you with a camera, you're just doing stories, scooping.
I could. Wrist. I mean, that like photo in the New York Times where I'm in the back of the car is kind of that vibe.
Yeah. Maybe we should do more behind the scenes shots, but it's just hard to figure out like how would we productize that because it's a lot of effort.
I think it's more for the time capsule.
Yeah.
But I think for us, like, think about the time capsule. In 30 years from now, you'll be able to do a second from every single show forever, and you'll
also
be able to
photos
see
and
memory.
Yeah,
tweets.
there are a lot of stuff. It's not exactly like building silently. Like it's very much in public. Anyway,
building very publicly.
Well, very excited. Massive year for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you
so much for coming on the show.
You're going to come to New York more?
Yes. I mean, that's exactly what
There's going to be a lot of IPOs next year.
This New York Stock Exchange partnership is all about.
Look, we got Adam over here. He's suited up.
He's suited up.
But thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun. I'll see you guys soon. Take it easy.
Soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. While she hops off, let me tell you about Wander.com. Book a Wander with inspiring views, hotel-grade amenities, dreamy beds, top-tier cleaning, and 24/7 concierge service. And I'm also going to tell you about 8sleep.com. Exceptional sleep without exception. Fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up energized. What are you laughing at? What do you got in the timeline?
Can't share that one.
Okay. Varda is flying its 4th mission home to Earth. That's exciting. Varda has been on an absolute tear. Will Brewery is sharing a photo of the See You Soon Kuniba Go W4. Somebody was joking about how Varda names their Varda names their missions W dash the number. They're now on 4. Someone was making the joke that eventually it's going to start sounding like tax forms, like W9, like 1099.
1099. I mean, that would be a funny bit. Memorable.
Does the W stand for Winnebago? I know that they have this whole like Breaking Bad theme internally that they like to joke about, but I don't know. What do we got right now?
TJ Parker's quoting Granola did Crunch, which is a great name for their version of rap.
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
TJ Parker says, "You're 2025, deposed."
Deposed.
What did you mean by this?
That actually, I mean, a wrapped style product for all of your meeting notes is extremely interesting for the corporate athlete out there.
Yeah.
Really, if you're a corporate athlete and you put up historic numbers in granola,
I love how Keith is like, I did 3,200 hours in a month.
It's just like, you can't possibly work 3,000 hours in a month. There aren't 3,000 hours in a month. Because I know a full work year is 2,000 hours, and if you're working 80 hours a week, that's 4,000 hours. That's
Andrew Reed says, when your vendor sends out their forward deployed engineers, they're leaving their flank exposed to a pincer movement by your cavalry.
What? It's ridiculous with the metaphors. I love it. Let me tell you about adquick.com. Out-of-home advertising made easy and measurable. Plan, buy, measure out of home with precision with adquick.com.
Quanta announced a $15 million Series A yesterday, led by Excel, and launched Prism, agentic reporting that can explain your finances.
Yeah, we got Adam Faze in the New York Stock Exchange.
Wow.
In the suited up. In the booth.
Can we get a suit check real quick?
You look fantastic.
We had to dress up for the Stock Exchange.
Yes, you look great. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Are you like a tailoring guy? You get it off the rack?
I am like, you buy a suit, then you get it tailored.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm not at the level yet that you can get like a custom suit with somebody at one.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Getting there. Well, you had some
You were just
thoughts on the
rattling off.
timeline.
I do.
About the news breakdown. What happened today? How'd you find out about it?
I found out from someone I've been in favor of this merger from the day it was announced. So I think like when there was conversations around who might be the new owner of Warner Brothers, Netflix for me was always the best option. And so I was having dinner with a friend 2 nights ago, and I was saying this, and the next day, last night, he texted me, and he's like, it happened.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Oh.
And I was shocked. I really did not actually think this was possible.
Yeah.
But I think I'm one of the few people in Hollywood that actually think this is good for Hollywood.
Okay, why?
You say in Hollywood, but you're here in New York.
Look, Hollywood is kind of everywhere.
Hollywood is a state of mind.
It's a state of mind.
Hollywood is a state of mind. Okay, so why is it good?
I think everyone is still stuck in 2015 and thinks that we are in a battle with Netflix.
Okay.
The reality is like we're in a battle for attention with Meta, Google, TikTok, the AI companies, and I think whatever's best for this IP is what's best for Hollywood.
And we as content creators, IP owners?
I think as people that love our industry, I think the IP that Warner Brothers own is so rich. And at the end of the day, Netflix has the most powerful distribution arm in entertainment. And so when you look at the force of like a K-pop Demon Hunters, for instance, which is like arguably the biggest movie of the year, you think that Warner Brothers is the second most important animated IP library, second to Disney. Right? This is Looney Tunes. We're talking Hanna-Barbera. We're talking Rick and Morty. Right?
We're talking.
These are titles that are gathering dust on platforms, and it would gather dust on Paramount Plus as well. And Netflix now has the IP to match the distribution that they already have.
Why do you don't think Paramount would be able to put it to use?
Not to the power of Netflix. And I think at the end of the day, Netflix has wanted a licensing business for a very long time. But I think what they figured out is that IP is really hard to make. I think after 10 years, there's like 3 titles you can actually say are IP. Stranger Things, Squid Game, and I think you can say K-pop Demon Hunters now. But like they spend $15 billion a year
But it really is remarkable because I feel like Netflix, I feel a very positive association with Netflix. I've always had a good time with it. I've always enjoyed it. But when I actually look through, I can name 10 HBO shows that I love and revere as like fine art relative to like, I've had some good times on Netflix, but it's not like, oh, you've never seen The Sopranos?
Exactly.
You're not watching Game of Thrones?
Exactly.
Like, it's not the FOMO TV.
No. And I think at the end of the day, we're matching now the most powerful audience in streaming with the greatest library on earth. So I think like in revenue alone.
Greatest library on earth?
I really do think Warner Brothers has the greatest library. When you include HBO as well.
Okay, sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff,
And I do think when you think about the licensing revenue they're going to start making for merchandising, I mean, we're talking Netflix now owning Harry Potter, The merchandising
That's
on that
actually
alone
crazy.
is the reason why this is the best deal. you could possibly have.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about
You're
not worried about the debt. You're not worried that everybody that subscribes to HBO Max is already probably paying Netflix, and there's just
look. Well, I don't mean it'll be cheaper for all of us, right? I mean, I think you're going to get two for a little bit more expensive than Netflix.
A little bit more expensive, but then you can just keep bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. I mean, I've always I've always been. Like Netflix has felt like such a good value proposition for so long. I've always been interested to see how people will churn if there's not like a hot show on Netflix at that exact moment that they're engaged with, because there's just so much content.
Help me wrestle with this. There was someone on the timeline who was saying like, I cannot imagine another place where Warner Brothers would land that would create more of a monopoly,
right?
And they're saying they're going to face antitrust.
So
concerns.
Jason Kilar, who is a founding CEO of Hulu,
that's right,
Warner Media CEO, he says, if I was tasked with doing so, I could not think of a more effective way to reduce competition in Hollywood.
Reduce competition is particularly an antitrust phrase,
right?
But I was saying like, what about selling it to Disney? Like, if it was,
what about
Disney,
selling it to Paramount? At the end of the day, there'd be a lot worse consolidation with the Paramount and Warner Brothers combined merger, and a lot more lost jobs.
Okay, so explain that angle, because I was talking about Disney, and it just seems crazy to put Superman next to Spider-Man. Like, you have a full
I think
monopoly.
At the end of the day, as much as people usually like to say that they'd like to keep the teams at both studios, at the end of the day, if Paramount and Warner Brothers were to merge, they'd have the same film studio.
Oh, sure.
And so I think what we're really talking about here is the consolidation for the survival of a 100-year-old industry.
Okay.
That's going to continue to happen.
Sure.
But again, we are in a war for attention with the digital platforms that are free to watch, which is YouTube, which is Instagram, which is TikTok. So I think that at the end of the day, we are trying to keep alive an industry that is not thriving, but still is a very powerful industry. I think that this puts it in a much better direction going forward.
Yeah, what about actual physical theaters? It seemed like Netflix was trying to get ahead of some narrative that, movies that you love with the next Harry Potter, maybe, whatever that is, or the next Superman
the next Harry
movie.
Potter, it is about to be an HBO TV show. That's been in development, which is really funny.
So it is going out of theater.
Yeah.
But you understand.
Well, you say that, but like it still feels like this deal has a long way to go.
Has a long way to go.
Yeah.
And it still feels like there's a number of different scenarios.
By the way, I think most likely this is just held up for a few years. I think that's probably more likely the option. But I do think we're probably going to look at something similar to like an AT&T Time Warner situation.
Sure. But on the idea of Netflix choosing to say, hey, obviously the next great movie we could just put on Netflix, maybe get a couple more subs. We are going to consciously make an effort to put it into theaters.
Yeah.
Do you think that's lip service? Do you like that plan? Do you think how are you feeling about the theater business and where it goes from here?
Look, do you see Netflix putting a pop-up that's like, hey, this is in movies now, but if you pay $100, you can watch it today?
No. But I will say, I think this year we've seen Netflix kind of go back on things they've said. I mean, they put K-pop Demon Hunters in theaters and made $19 million in the span of one weekend. So I do think they understand the force is you can make additional
There's something about a musical in a theater, too, because everyone's singing, especially with kids.
Yeah, and you're seeing it with a shared audience.
Comedy, too, you laugh.
But I do think that at the end of the day, Warner Brothers, has to continue having their releases come out in theaters if they're going to want to still make movies with people like Paul Thomas Anderson. And so I think what you will more likely see is the window being shortened.
Yep.
But I do think that they will have to keep and maintain this sort of theatrical exhibition release.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I wonder where it goes. There's been a trend that I've been a fan of where the movie theaters, at least in my town, have been reducing the number of seats, but then increasing the amenities and upsells. And they'll try and sell you a whole dinner and drinks, and you get out of there and you spend $200. But I don't get to go to the movies that much, so it's like a fantastic experience.
You like the eating in the theater?
I love the iPick.
Really?
I love that.
I like the iPick. I don't like the eating in it. I like the luxury seat for sure.
No. You bring a bottle of wine over. You can bring a steak.
How's the wine? Is it good wine?
I can't tell, but it doesn't matter because I'm enjoying.
Josh.
No. Sometimes the wine's fine. I don't know, but I think they should go all the way. French Laundry, put a movie theater in it.
Yeah, I mean, look. At the end of the day, I think you look at something like the Lincoln Center IMAX, which is usually sold out for weeks on end. It's almost impossible to get a seat when you have a one battle after another or a DC movie or something premiering there. And so, I think the trend is going to. You will only go to the theater to see an experience.
What do you mean? Is it sold out during the day or just in?
It's sold out like 10 a.m. too.
No way.
I mean, I actually tried to go see. I finally saw one after another, like weeks after it had come out, and I had the shittiest seats on earth because I couldn't find seats at any other given showtime.
Wow.
But I do think the trend's going to be the only reason you will go to a theater is to have an experience you cannot have at home. So if that's the ultra luxury sort of beautiful screening room that you have a steak dinner at, great. If that's the biggest screen in North America, then that's also amazing too. And I think a lot of this is sort of repeating what the movie experience was 100 years ago. We used to build like palaces to watch movies, and it went to the multiplex in the mall, which really does mirror probably a worse version of what you could watch on Netflix at home. And so I'm in support of kind of going back to that original experience and making it something that's just like spectacular as a way of getting people back in those seats.
What other media stories are you tracking?
I mean, this is the biggest one of the week. This is history. This is like actual history. And I am sensitive to that fact. I think there's a lot of people in Hollywood that are scared about sort of what is next for our industry. You know, we had a very long strike that then came to an industry that was sort of smaller than it was at the beginning of which. But at the end of the day, I do think that this is an exciting story, and I also think that it's going to be, as someone who's a fan of like Looney Tunes, for instance, I would rather a newer version of Looney Tunes be on these platforms than having kids watch like YouTube Kids AI
Favorite Looney Tunes character?
It's a great question. Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote.
The influx of just pure AI content now to YouTube is actually crazy, specifically in the video essay kind of documentary space, where they're just like, hey, like I'm going to just generate a deep research report, use 11 labs to like basically create an audio track, and then just put pictures and some videos over it is actually crazy. I've only been, I like some of the history content on there, and I'll just like search for a topic. And then if I don't know the channels yet, I don't know until I'm 3 minutes in the video, and the video says, This move wasn't just this; it was that, and I'm like,
they gotcha.
I will say, YouTube Kids is like one of the scarier things I think we have in culture, because like you might think your kid is safe because they're watching a Miss Rachel video. And it's very cute and innocent, but like the recommended feed, I don't know if you've ever spent time with YouTube Kids. It's terrifying. It's
crazy.
Like AI slop coming from like Russian.
They're not going to swear, and there won't be nudity or adult content, but it's weird.
It's weird, and it is like weirdly sensual at times as well. And I think that like, I don't know when we decided that these tech companies could be the babysitter for your child, but I imagine that we're going to sort of reverse those trends.
I completely agree. And I think the meme is already taking hold. Like the whole iPad Kids meme is definitely something where parents are now proud to be like, oh yeah, my kid doesn't have an iPad. And it's like, if it becomes a status symbol, then all of a sudden everyone does it, and hopefully the
What about social media being banned? There's something in Australia.
I'm in favor of this.
Whoa.
I think under 16 they're banning social media in Australia, which I think is a great thing. I really do think we're nearing peak sort of consumption.
Yeah, so here's the issue with that. Like, kids are still going to have devices. They're going to use various services. They'll use new networks that have less control. I think kids are still going to be social on the internet, and if you ban the platforms that actually invest billions of dollars a year, you're going to get them on these like places, like dark corners of the internet that don't have any scrutiny, that don't have any whatever you want to call it, safety teams, whether you're in favor of them or not. I just think this is, you cannot ban humans being social. They will always find a way.
They will always find a way, but I mean, we had a very similar conversation around cigarettes, right? And like, we know that the sort of laws we put around cigarettes has saved lives, a countless amount of lives. And so I do think that, like, regardless of what the solution is.
But the comp would be like, you ban cigarettes, which is a physical item that you need, that needs a supply chain. It's hard to like make a cigarette. We're not banning kids' cell phones. They're still going to have a device.
Roll with one hand.
Yeah, John was probably rolling his own.
You had a pipe actually back there.
Whittling a pipe. So I just think like you're going to end up in a situation where kids are probably going to they're going to just vibe code a crazy social network, and it's going to invite in a lot of.
Sure. I mean, I think, look, regardless, I think we're nearing that point where we need to have a national conversation about this. I don't think anyone out there can say that, like, kids are better off today as a result of the amount of brain rot and consumption they're doing on these platforms than they were before. And I think, like, on top of that, these platforms are in the business of getting you more addicted to their slop. There's a reason why Instagram moved the Reels tab to where messages used to be, because they know that once you're on the Reels tab, you're probably going to watch a few more Reels. That's a $50 billion
I was not on the Reels tab at all. I would just check my messages.
You swipe, and now it's real.
Now I swipe it down there, and I'm like,
cursed.
Okay, wow.
It is cursed.
It's cursed.
So I just think that, like, this is a conversation that needs to be parent-led, and we don't really have the data yet to show just how harmful it is for
I always
people.
just go back to, like, my experience with video games. things like, Halo, I think, was like M for mature. I was not supposed to be able to play it until I was 17. I was probably able to get my hands on it at 14. I think I turned out okay. I'm not obsessed with like killing aliens, and I'm not doing I'm actually completely fine. Same thing with Call of Duty.
I remember going to GameStop with my mom and trying to buy GTA 5, and they have to give you that whole warning, like, do you know this game includes like every horrible thing you've ever heard in your entire life? And it's like, yeah. So having some sort of warning system. I'm a big fan of MPAA ratings coming to tech products. I've been kind of beating that drum for a couple months, but I think the MPAA ratings. I hope that the MPAA figures out a way to work with the tech companies in a way that's like accretive to them, like they get paid or whatever. Because I think that there's just something about if I say, hey, like Instagram is R-rated, you'll be like, okay, I know what that means. For sure.
Or like Instagram's PG-13 rated, or it's G-rated. Like I know intuitively, and I'm ready as a parent to decide when. And maybe I want to say, hey, PG-13 rated movies like a little bit earlier because parental guidance is recommended. It's okay. It's like we can, even with video games, I'm a big fan of like cooperative games being a wildly different dynamic than like solo online in like the toxic chat room. Whereas if it's like me and my son playing a co-op game together, like troubleshooting and stuff, even if like the screen images are a little bit like adult, it's like we're collaborating, and so it's a wildly different dynamic than being like lonely and then seeing imagery.
I do think these are just sort of, unfortunately, some of the problems we had to deal with user-generated content. Like, we're talking about games that were made by hundreds, if not thousands, of people that had to go through an approval system to get that rating. There are dangers when it is totally left up to the person of just making whatever type of content you want. Of course, platforms like YouTube are going to police that content, and you're not allowed to have, you can't murder somebody and have that video exist on YouTube. You can on X, though. So I think it's just a matter of figuring out, like, where do we want this conversation to go, and like what approvals do we want to give to parents?
Want your take on the Marty Supreme marketing campaign?
Oh yeah,
because this feels like to me, I don't pay much attention to movies, but I'm seeing a lot of Marty Supreme content.
That's good.
And it's Jordy's film of the year already.
You haven't seen it? Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I saw it a few weeks ago.
I supposed to see it on Christmas.
I saw it. I went to the premiere.
I understood it came on Christmas from that.
But it's fucking. It's amazing. It's the best movie of the year. I will say it is the best movie of the year.
And it's Marty Supreme.
Not to put a brotherly race between the two, but Josh Safdie is the GOAT, and he's the one.
He's incredible.
It's the best score. It's the best acting. It's the greatest cast. It's such a phenomenal movie.
The best score?
Best score.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like the game in the ping pong.
No, like the best, like the music of the movie. The music of the movie.
I'm kidding. 21-0.
I will say, I don't know. I think part of this is they're dealing with Timmy has Timothy, not that I'm friends with him, has a very short amount of time. I think he's filming Dune right now. So I don't think he's that available for press. I think what they're doing is super creative.
Totally.
I worry that it's a little inside baseball, and I think like you could be going more mass culture with this, like he did with the Bob Dylan movie by going on Pat McAfee and all these other programs. I will just say the movie's phenomenal.
The blimp. I've been trying to get somebody to do a blimp marketing campaign for so long.
You want to do a blimp?
Yeah.
No, I was just pushing like Ramp to do a blimp. I told the Gemini team do a blimp, right? Like blimps are an amazing asset because you can physically put them over the air. Like you're putting something
and they're just naturally inspiring.
Miss.
You look up and it's a blimp and it's like amazing.
They are, and I think it was fun that it was connected to the Instagram.
Of course,
video yeah. It is the movie of the year. It is Best Picture.
Okay, wow.
Best Picture.
Fantastic.
Whoa.
What's the show of the year?
The show of the year. Honestly, I feel like I actually didn't catch up that much with television shows this year.
Right?
I feel a little more caught up. I'm rewatching Homeland though, which I
Homeland. Wow, that's a throwback.
It is a throwback at this point. It's sort of like Obama era CIA.
I remember season 1 having a great like cliffhanger. I was really into it. You're deeper in the seasons?
No, I'm like episode 7, season 1 right now. This is like a new.
Oh, and you've never seen it?
Okay, so no kind spoilers. Of like in passing when I was a kid, but I don't really think I like went through it.
No, I remember being really into it when I watched it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course.
This was fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you.
Congratulations on your booth. Look at this.
Yeah, look at
this. This is crazy. This is crazy.
We're here. We're doing it.
So great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to tell you about adquick.com. Out-of-home advertising made easy and measurable. Plan, buy, and measure out-of-home with precision.
Did you know the owner of AI.com is DeepSeek?
What?
Apparently.
No way.
It could be fake news. It's according to Google AI Overview.
Wait, no. This is completely wrong. completely wrong because it says it was
definitely
owned by
MKB.
tech YouTuber MKBHD, who acquired it from Elon Musk. That doesn't make any sense. That's a complete nonsense. No.
You think it's fake news?
That's like completely unreliable. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Anyway, is there any other news that is worth running through? There was a review in the Wall Street Journal of a book called Maintenance of Everything, Part 1, Review Making of the Future, by Stuart Brand. This is a Stripe Press book. We should try and have him on the show. It begins with this drama. This is interesting. It's talking about like the process of maintenance, and says the author recounts the stories of 3 contestants in the 1968 Golden Globe around the world solo sailboat race. One was a former merchant marine whose wooden 32-foot ketch was barely adequate for a journey through the punishing Southern Ocean. Make do and mend was his motto. Another competitor was a tech whiz who packed his plywood trimaran with electronic gizmos. A dreamy optimist, he set sail in a rush, hoping for the best. The third and the most experienced racer sailed in a purpose-built steel-hulled boat, which he maintained with Zen-like discipline. He said he spent his days working calmly at the odd jobs that make up my universe. And so, while this story will be familiar to sailors and others who have read the many books written about the race, Mr. Brand mines the competitors' harrowing experiences for deep lessons. Maintaining the technology that keeps us alive is more than a necessary chore.
So Josh Wolf, remember, he was talking about his thesis for maintenance. I think he was on the show, if I remember correctly. I mean, the idea is like everybody wants to build things, nobody wants to maintain them, but we have a lot of things in the world that maybe aren't functioning the way that you want them to. That you can throw them out, or you can maintain them, improve them, bring them, revitalize them. So I'm excited to read Did they give a proper review?
I mean, the New Yorker or the Wall Street Journal is not doing exactly like 2 thumbs up here, but they are reviewing it and they say maintenance will engage students of technology, challenge business readers, and inspire home tinkerers who will be happy to learn that fixing gadgets is also a path to enlightenment. Fittingly, the book was initially published in installments online, visible at books.worksinprogress.co. As a kind of editorial DIY project, Mr. Brand tends to jump from topic to topic as he follows his passions. Some might find his digressions meandering. I personally wouldn't have a problem with that. And the author of this post on the Wall Street Journal says, I found them delightful. Reflecting that quirky organization, the book ends on a tangent rather than a big wrap-up. But that only raises expectations for part 2. And so I think this is a positive review by Mr. Meigs, the former editor of Popular Mechanics and senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. And I think that concludes our show from Manhattan.
I found out AI.com.
Yes.
The owner is trying to sell it, and they're redirecting it to a bunch of different sites to try to generate interest.
Exactly, and so people are so they'll send it to MKBHD for a couple days
to hope that he posts about it.
And then if you're in the analytics and you're Elon at XAI or something, and you're like, oh wow, I'm getting all this traffic from where? Oh, someone redirected AI.com to me.
I'd be curious
and it's this
how much
valuable. Maybe I should buy it. It is a lot of traffic.
I wonder how much traffic it actually gets.
I have no idea. I can't imagine that there's that many people that are just going to AI.com. Are those the best customers? Really? Like, people haven't made a decision? I mean, OpenAI bought chat.com, so maybe these short domains make a lot of sense. Does Google own .ai or something? Because they have AI.studio, so I guess they own the TLD studio. Google doesn't just buy domains.
See, AI.com only got 93,000 visits in October.
According to SimilarWeb, which is
like
that
very
does not
low.
seem super valuable. But you could do something fun with it. You could do something interesting with it. I'm sure that there's a way to make some.
But it's not worth
$100
$100 million in any situation.
Yeah. Well, in other funding news, there's $350 million new funding for Castilian, who's been on the show.
Whoa.
And the Wall Street Journal is putting in context, there's alarm over the hypersonic missile gap, and it's fueling a startup boom. The Pentagon is getting serious about hypersonic weapons, a technology that have eluded the U.S. military for decades. It's looking to startups with no experience but billions of dollars backing them to fill an increasingly glaring hole in the national arsenal. China and Russia both have stockpiles of these long-range, super-fast, maneuverable weapons. The U.S. doesn't, even though officials consider them essential to winning future conflicts. As the Defense Department belatedly looks to close that gap, private investment is pouring in, and startups, many of which haven't built hypersonic systems at scale and haven't flown at hypersonic speeds, are seeing their valuations soar. The latest is Torrance-based Castilian, which on Friday said it raised $350 million at a $2.8 billion valuation. Wow. Congrats to the team over at Castilian.
Great progress.
That is
They were around, I remember they were around like 100 or 200 earlier this year. So
oh yeah, big jump.
We are in the back of our show, so I will pull up this post from Jason Fried. He's talking about the best back quarter in the last 50 years.
What car is this?
This is the Aston Martin Zagato.
Oh, the Zagato. No way.
Which is
really?
Probably an underrated car in general. And just a fantastic color. Hopefully the team can pull it up. But Jason has incredible taste in all things in life and certainly in cars. But that's our show for today. We'll be back home on the West Coast on Monday. I can't wait. And thank you for tuning in with us today and yesterday from the NYSE. Thank you to Lynn, Chloe, and the whole team. They're all fantastic. And we will be back here soon.
We'll see you on Monday.
Cheers.
Thank you. Goodbye.